everyone, and welcome to the 20th episode of Slime Time, the official Dragon Quest Dragon's Den podcast. This is Plat AM3.
And this is Liam Land. So, happy belated Dragon Quest Day. Have you seen all the new announcements about the Dino Daiboken stuff coming to Japan later this year and next?
Yeah, looks like they're, remaking the TV show, and they got a trio of games coming out there that we'll never see.
Well, come on, you never know.
Oh, this is definitely not coming. But interestingly enough, that kind of got me into it last week, hearing that those games were coming. I'd never, I got all the subtitled episodes, never watched them. But I know there's 347 chapters of the manga that got a fans translation back in 2007 through 2009. Actually tried emailing the guys that did it, and that email just bounced back because, here we are 12 years later. But I tweeted out, it'd be really cool if we got a hold of, I think it's Square Ocean is the group, Chrono, and a few others did it, because 347 chapters at least 20 pages each, it's like 7,000 pages. And in the last week, I've bum rushed through about 1,500 of them. It's pretty good. I'd never read it before, and I'm enjoying it.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't realize it was only recently that I realized that somebody had fan translated that entire series. Yeah, I have to put some time into looking into that. I'm still trying to get through Monsters Plus, which I stopped reading when it freaked my son out because he saw a dragon getting cut to pieces. You
can't handle that. Get out.
Well, no, you have to graduate to a certain age where that's okay.
Yeah, no, that definitely. Okay. It's not exactly for toddlers. No.
Yeah. So joining us tonight is a member of the Dragon's Den who goes by the name Enix. On Twitter, we know him as Luchadork.
Oh yeah! How you doing, Dorkomaniacs?
I think I hear Luchadork Jr. in there, too.
He's here. He's my hype man.
Well, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
We wanted to do a podcast episode to celebrate Dragon Quest merch, what fans have collected, what merch people like, and what is way, way, way out of everyone's price range. So I wanted to start out talking about just the philosophy of merch, or the three main reasons why people tend to collect that I can think of. So I guess the first would be to enhance or reintroduce feelings and emotions brought forth by the games. I think a lot of the merch that I have is based on that nostalgia, that nostalgic feeling of I can't always play a Dragon Quest game, but I can always look at my slime plushie on my shelf as I work, things like that. And the other thing is just DQ fandom pride and bragging rights. There's definitely a lot of that. We created this contest we'll talk about a little bit later, back in 2015, 2016, called Brag Your DQ Swag. It was a Twitter contest we created through the Den with Westy Blue Slime, where we asked all the fans to kind of post their pictures of their swag, and then we had a whole voting and everything, and so we were kind of honing in on the fact that people not only collect merch, but they love to kind of share that off and brag about it. So leading into our next talking point that I wanted to talk about is how I know Lucha. So you sold me some of the most rare merch that I have. I purchased it from you probably about 5 or 6 years ago.
I unfortunately remember.
Unfortunately, when your screen
that open wound I was referring to earlier.
Yeah, I figured. When your screen name was Enix, at the time you were selling a large chunk of rare DQ merch. To date, it's still some of the rarest merch in the collection I got from you, the Mirror of Ra.
I want it back.
You've said that over the years. Not currently selling, but I'll let you know.
Because I can't find another one. It's so tough.
Yeah. So some of the stuff like that and the gold golem statue, like you got this from Square Enix employees, because the Mirror of Ra is actually from the release of Dragon Quest II for Famicom.
I don't remember so there were two versions of that mirror, if I'm not mistaken. There was a wall hanging one, and then there was one that was like a stand up. And if I'm not mistaken, I had the wall hanging one.
Yep.
And then same thing goes with that Goldman. The Goldman statue, I actually got my information on exactly what mine was from a Nintendo employee when I submitted my collection to Nintendo Power years ago. They were doing like a collection call because I think something Dragon Quest related was coming out or something, and they had made a sort of like a brag your swag thing call in one of the issues, back when people used to read a magazine and then send things in. So I had sent a bunch of pictures of my stuff in while I was living in Japan, and this dude got back to me super excited. I probably have his email somewhere. It'd take me years to dig through all my old emails and find it, but this dude was super excited to get back to me. Not just about a lot of the stuff that I had, but specifically that Goldman statue. He had asked me to take additional pictures of it, I think, and he had confirmed that the one that I had was one of only 25, I think it was, that were given out to the North American Dragon Warrior team as a congratulations. And there was, I don't remember exactly what the difference.
You got it in Japan?
No, I got it while I lived in Japan.
Oh, okay.
I got it online from somebody. God,
you imported it from the U.S.
Yeah. I got it from somebody who I don't think knew what it was, because I got it wicked cheap, right? And I had actually at the time also been eyeballing them on Japan, because they had the ones in Japan that came with a gold chain that they would drape over it too. And those were I think commercially available ones. And they're still somewhat uncommon. You can still find them on the auctions and stuff, but those 25, I can't remember what it was. The dude pointed out what the difference was to show it. I think it was the base that they stood on was a little different or something. But yeah, he's like, oh, you got one of the ones, because he was asking me if I was part of the translation team or something like that, and I was like, nah, I just bought this from some dude. But yeah, it was a unique piece that I kind of regret selling. I'll never get that again. And it was, I think, those same pieces of whatever that total amount one of them was the one that they were giving away. I guess the North American team had the extra one that they used for the Dragon Warrior 2 promotion, something of that nature. This dude, I'd have to find all the old emails, but this guy had basically explained to me the history of those and the ones that were I guess, special. And I had one of them, and I was like, oh, I'm keeping this forever. And then then life took a chance at that and decided that wasn't happening, along with most of my other stuff that I sold on the den. Like the damn box slime plush. I've only ever seen that once since I sold mine to somebody. I don't know who I sold it to, but I can't remember her name. I want to say Coffee Tan is what her username is.
Oh, that's Mishi.
Yeah, she was looking for one, and I had found one on Amazon Japan, and I don't know if she found it first, but I had pointed out that I could get one for her, and I think she found it and bid on it, and I was like, somebody bid on it, and she's like, oh, it was me. I was like, okay. At least it's somebody that I'm willing to let get it. But that's the only other time I've seen that box slime plush. I don't know if it's super rare or what, but I think she got it for $10.
She's got a ridiculous, an amazing large slime plush collection.
I was at one point willing to deem myself as the number one holder of Dragon Quest merch in the world, and then I sold it all, and there's no way I'll never catch up to her.
Does that including Japan in the world?
I'm trying. Look, I knew a lot of people in Japan that were big into Dragon Quest stuff. And I'm not trying to like over exaggerate or splurge here. I had almost everything when I lived in Japan. There's a lot of stuff that didn't make it into that sale thread. There's still a lot of stuff that I have that I've kept. There was a time because Sack Chief is now using the little booklets that Enix gave out that basically told you all the merch that they had at the time, in the 90s and early 2000s and stuff. And I used those. Those were like my little Bibles, and I or checklists or whatever. I had most of that stuff. There was a time when I had a lot of that stuff, and it's all gone now. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I didn't sell in the den that I sold at other places, and some stuff I sold on eBay. So what you saw in the den was a fraction of the things I had. I didn't like the pictures that you see floating around a lot, even on like my Twitter and stuff. Those are the ones that made it into Nintendo Power. But there was a lot of stuff that wasn't in those pictures. There was a lot of things that I got after those pictures as well. I had a ton of stuff, but if I'm conceding my title to anybody, it's her. Because there's things that she has that I'm jealous of, because between me leaving Japan, which really put a hamper on my collecting. I mean, made it extremely difficult because I left Japan in 2009, and it doesn't seem like it's that long ago, but even now it's kind of difficult. That you still have to go through some hoops to get merch, but you can get it much easier now from overseas. But in 2009 and a few years after that, there was a lot of stuff I just completely didn't even know existed. I just didn't have the access that I had when I lived in Japan. Like when I lived in Japan, as soon as it came out, I knew it. Right, because there were ads everywhere. You go in the store; they were right up front at the store.
Right.
It was easy. I would just like go mine, got it, no problem. Yeah. But like the soft bees, little rubber PVC figures of all the monsters.
So Fubi, yeah.
They made about, I think it was 48 of them, and they were all numbered. Right, number 1 I think was the slime, and
that's the one with the base underneath it.
No. They're just little squishy, almost like rubber ducky material.
Okay. I know what you're talking
They still refer to them as soft bees, but because I guess in Japan that must be like some kind of a generic term for PVC plastic, even regardless of whether it's soft or hard. But no, they're just like basically kind of like they're soft, but they're not super squishy, but they're a softer plastic. But I got up to, I think, 45 or 46 before I had left and came back to the States. And I still have not gotten the last 3. I just found out that the last 3 had come out, about 2 or 3 years ago or so. And it's not that they're impossible to find. It's just that one of them is extremely overpriced, which is the Hammer Hood. He's like $60, and I'm not sure I'm willing to spend that on one soft bee.
60?
Yeah.
That's actually not that bad compared to some of the other price gouging stuff we'll talk about later.
It's not bad. There's some of them that are worth more that I actually do have that were some of the earlier ones, but like it's just an example of, there's those things that I just can't get, but she's got like there's those sleeping slime plushes, the sleeping slime knight. I out of jealousy, I immediately, when I saw them in her collection, I went and I hit up Yahoo Japan auctions. I'm like, I'm gonna get them. I gotta have them. Nobody can have something that I don't have
anymore.
they're $100 and up each if they're on there, and I'm like, oh well, that's not happening.
Right.
I regret she got that the Metal Babel carpet, the plush rug, and when it came out, it was like $250, I think, something like that, which is still relatively expensive. And I was like, these will be around for a little while, right? I'll get one later. And she got one, and I was like, yeah, they'll still be. She got one, I'll get one later. I look now, I can't even find them, and like when they do show up, they're like $1,000, and I'm like, nah, it's okay, I'll live with that.
Yeah.
I want one now so bad, and I was like, I should have got one. I knew I should have got one.
I was happy to get the
an impressive collection, and I'm severely jealous of many of the things she has.
Oh yeah. I mean, it would take probably several lifetimes to get that many.
or just the money, just you be in debt just to get some of those things.
Right. So yeah, I they do a lot of, and I guess we'll talk about this later as well. But like they do a lot of temporary merch sales or tombolas even, where you go into a store and you pay like $6 and you get a ticket to roll the tombola, and you get, different from like, C, B, A, and S rank prizes for different themes. So when I lived in Japan for a short bit when my son was born, they were doing the kitchen and bath, which was like different bath towels, and they had the slime pancake pan, and I was immediately like, oh yes, I have to get that. So I just bought a whole bunch of tickets until I got it. And then as soon as I got it, people were like, oh, I got, can you get me one? So I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll keep trying to get another one. And I just couldn't. So I got a whole bunch of like extra crap. Some of which I ended up
slime
selling.
Toilet paper?
No, but I had slime bathroom sponges.
So are these, is this something, because I don't know if it's related to it or not, but I see like, at least recently, they have prizes for like, I want to say I want to say it's a contest, but I feel like it's some kind of event, or like in my mind, I'm thinking something like the maze of mirrors at a carnival or whatever, that you make it through, and at the end you get a prize if you make it. But I'm seeing something like that. I don't know. I'm seeing these. They're called. Some of them, they say they're lottery. At least they come up as it's translating to me, and when I'm reading it, as lottery. But some of them are saying lottery winning things. But one of the more recent ones is there's a final key that you get for completing something, some sort of a game or event or something like that. And they're showing up on the auctions, or at least they were a couple of months ago. It was the magic key, I believe. It's the one that has the eye on the top, with the gem, like the shape of the key at the top part of it is like an eye shape, not the letter, but an eyeball with a gem for a pupil. It's one of the keys. I think it's the magic key, but they're referring to it as the final key, and like it's coming in a box. You know how like you can go to the bar, right? You can go to Luida's bar in Roppongi, and there's certain things you can get there, like you can get the cookies and stuff, and they come in a little box. But these are like some sort of a game or something that you, upon completion, you get these. I know that there's a VR experience, or at least there was some sort of a Dragon Quest VR experience.
Yeah, I did it when it was in Shinjuku, and then
do you get anything if you win?
Yeah, you get a card with your character class on it. So I got like a gladiator card for it.
Yeah, this is a key. I bought one. It's coming in the mail next
over
batch.
the years though. Like I remember going back and getting you'd go to the Square Enix Cafe, you'd go to Artnia, and you'd go to Luida's bar, and they'd have this stamp system. And if you go to all three of them within a certain amount of time, you get a prize based on that. But it was usually like something like a slime balloon or a slime fan. Like the slime fans from Quest of the Stars actually have one of those. From one of those stamp.
Okay, because they had I know that the plushes for Quest of the Stars, like the squirrel dude and like the samurai version of him or whatever from the casino, they have plushes, and I seen them. I was actually looking at them today or yesterday, and they say that they were only from some event, and it must be something of like that, where like you've got to get the stamps or whatever, and then you can get them, because there's not. It's sort of like there's a slime that I know. There's a slime with a sword, and the Dragon Warrior 3.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Is it from Dragon Quest Walk?
No. He's got the Dragon Quest 3 hero has that little circlet on his head, and there's a sword. So it's a slime plush with that
slime
sword,
version,
and you only could get him at the spectacle event is what they refer to it as. And I'm guessing that was like a symphony thing or something, or like that. I know on the last podcast or the one before, you guys were talking about the ballet. I don't know if it's like one of those things you could only get in the ballet, because I got the spectacle event. You could only get that plush, and you could only get which I got, and I gave it to Lucha Jr. It's a slushy cup.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like a slime stack slushy cup. Yeah,
Okay.
I got those guys. I bought those off of auctions, but I'm guessing there's a lot of merch like that. It's sort of like the Toyota thing they had going on
Oh, yeah, yeah.
recently. You could only get like those stupid cars, which are like $2,000 now. You could only get them from the Toyota event.
Above $3,000 for Matchbox car-sized Toyota slime cars.
Yeah, not happening.
Yeah, I really wanted those for my son, and then I saw the cost, and I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, as
Maybe
soon as
not.
I saw him, I was like, oh, and then I was like, oh.
Yeah, so I mean that's part of the problem too, is that they just when they're making merch, they do create that level of like your fear of missing out. So you have to go to these events to get the merch. But there's limited supply in tickets, so there's limited supplies of merch.
Yeah.
And then that's
like,
part
like the Toyota thing, right? Like that's a promotional, like that's gonna end, and they're trying to get you to buy cars. I'm sure they get a kickback on the car sales or whatever. So
right, like that's something they could have mass produced in Japan.
I wish they would do stuff like they do in America, where like, you know, a couple of years or whatever down the road, you start seeing those show up at Walmart, you know, even though they were like at the time an event only thing, you know, like my kid's, he's into Monster Jam stuff, the monster truck stuff. And you'll see, they'll be like, oh, limited edition. You can only get the glow in the dark one, you know, from Walmart. And then eventually it just becomes like a commonplace thing a couple years later when everybody forgets. You know,
right.
So
yeah, like you can still get day one editions of Dragon Quest builders for PS4.
Yeah, so it'd be nice if you could like if they did the promo, you could get the cars and then, you know, they made them more available merch later. Would have been nice.
Yeah. So you do a lot of free Dragon Quest merch giveaways on Twitter, which you call Luchadorkaways. Have you really collected so much merch that you're actually giving it away?
No. It's something different. I mean, it's partially because of that. It started with me, at least specifically the Luchadorkaways. It started with me accidentally buying 2 copies of Dragon Quest IV on Electone, the soundtrack on CD. I've just been on big binges, and it's hard to keep track, you know, so I'm getting a lot of accidental extras, and that's just sort of how these giveaways started. Was I could sell these things, you know. I could probably have sold that first Dragon Quest IV soundtrack that Coffee Dan got. She was the first winner of the first Luchadork. I probably could have sold that thing for $40, I guess. Just guessing. I mean, I paid like $9 for it, but I could have sold. I could have been a jerk and sold it on eBay or whatever. But my first thought was, well, I just recently got back into collecting. I'd gotten back online. I'm starting to find some places to fit in on Twitter and whatnot, and you know, like the chat. And all that, and I just said, you know, I'd rather give these things to people that would appreciate them, that don't have access or the money to get these types of items, right? Like I like other things. I like Final Fantasy. I've got, you know, I love Star Ocean. There's a lot of little knickknacks and stuff that I got from other game series and stuff. And I'd like to maybe get into some other groups and stuff at some point, but you know, Dragon Quest is like my history, and that's been a lifelong thing. And I've fit in pretty well with the folks. I mean, Dragon Quest community is a very different community, right? Like we can be, I wouldn't say violent, but we can be, we can get up in arms defending Dragon Quest because we understand it, right? But we're not, I guess the community is just not as virulent as some of the others, right? Like even like against the, like I said, some of the games I just don't like, but I'm not like, burn Square Enix down for, you know, not giving me we're used to it, right? Like a lot of the long-term fans, we're just used to getting drip fed, right? Like, and we're used to it being difficult to get the merch, things like that. So it's just, I don't know, it kind of felt like the right thing to do. Everybody likes to be appreciated, so I like the fact that people appreciate that I'm giving them things, and you know, I'm glad that they appreciate it. I'm glad that that people that can't get this stuff have some avenue. I'm fortunate. I've had a lot of horrible hardships over the last decade, but I'm fortunate enough, to at least as a part of my rebuilding my collection, just the idea of rebuilding my collection, period, or any part of it, or even recollecting Dragon Quest stuff in general, can be kind of pricey. And like there's some of those folks that live in Mexico that are in the chat, and just out of sometimes I won't even do like the giveaways. Like I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now, but there's one guy he mentioned that he doesn't have any merch at all for Dragon Quest, and how much he would have loved to have had a slime night. It's like his dude, I guess. This is slime night, and I was like, I'm gonna get you one. And he's like, no. I got him one anyways, but I haven't sent it to him. I guess he said that it may cost him extra money, I guess import taxes or something, even if I send it to him for free. I'd like to send it to him still. If he won't take it, I guess it'll be part of another Luchadork away. There is another guy down in Mexico that was willing to accept Teeny Sanguini. I got him a big Teeny Sanguini plush. It's in the mail somewhere. I'm sure it'll take months to get to him, but
especially today
that I can help.
COVID.
I can help get people stuff, and like my access, at least I've got maybe better access than some people because I can read Japanese, and it makes it much easier for me to shop for these things. And while I'm out there shopping, making deals and finding things on the cheap, and sometimes I splurge when I probably shouldn't, like that Erdrick's token that I got, that 1-to-1 Erdrick's token that was pricey, and at first I regretted it, and then I got it in my hand and I was like, oh, I don't regret it at all. But while I'm shopping for these stupid things, and I'll build up masses before I have them all boxed up and sent to me. Now I make it a part of my routine, right? Like I look at it and I go, okay, what do people like, right? People like Dragon Quest IV. Maybe I don't so much, but that doesn't mean other people don't. And I can get a Dragon Quest IV soundtrack for $4. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I throw that in there in my box of $100 worth of stuff? Spend $4 more so somebody can have that, right? Or some plush, some small plush or something, that cost me an extra $5. Why wouldn't I do that, right? I get it. I get where the excitement comes from. There was one poor dude. It was one of the early ones when I'd first done the first Luchadork away or the second one or whatever, or some guy. I believe it was Westy had retweeted. Some dude was so excited that he got his first tiny little 3-inch slime plush, and I was like, dude, you're getting another one. I just told him, I said, send me a message, you're getting another one. So I sent him another one. It's just, I see people that they're excited and they appreciate that they can finally get some kind of a thing, and I have the blessing of teaching myself enough Japanese to be able to shop and have the access to shop and have some spare money to shop, that it doesn't, I can't see how it hurts for me to pick up a few extra bits and bobs on the cheap during my import hauls, that I can't give to somebody and nice. Make a thing out of it. Like if I can make it a community thing where people get excited and everybody's got a fair shot at getting something cool, why not, right? It's like the Kobe's Journey cartridge that I have. That was a dupe. It's only a dupe because I finally, after years, sucked it up and decided I'm going to spend the ridiculous money to get a complete mint copy, because it was one of the few games that I didn't have a copy of, like a full copy. I've had this cartridge forever that I got from somebody online years ago and wrote his name on it. It's suffice. And then I just said, I'm just going to buy the one that I want. It's sort of like when I refresh my Dragon Warrior 4, right? Like, I have the means to do it, and somebody else can benefit from it. I could sell this cartridge, right? I could throw this on eBay and probably be gone in a day. But why wouldn't I give it to somebody, that would appreciate it? And that's just kind of how it's evolved, and that's kind of how it started, right? I had the one extra soundtrack. Why not? Why not give it away? So.
Cool.
Very, very nice of you. Hey, I got a question. Do you have anything super funny, super bizarre that, do you have a Dragon Quest heated toilet seat? Something other than a figure. Is there some weird ass Dragon Quest thing that you have that you're like, this would never fucking, you'd never find this in the States for any series anywhere?
If you had asked me this question when I lived in Japan, I probably could have on the spot rifled off a handful of things. Like, I saw the other day was a slime enema. It's just shaped like a slime. I don't know. That's probably a thing. I don't know if it is or not. But I honestly, there's not much I can think of that's just complete whack. Recently, there's some silly things. Like there's that stupid metal babble floor sweeper. Like, I don't know who came up with that, but that is like one of the dumbest things I could think of. I don't care what merch, whether your Final Fantasy or whether it be like Mario Brothers. I can't think of any franchise where a floor sweeper, like a Swiffer sweeper, comes into mind as being like appropriate merch. Like, who thought of that? Who's like, let's just make a floor sweeper?
Yeah, maybe that was part of one of their kitchen and bath giveaways.
Man, I don't know. Like, there's a thing that I found recently. I guess is a meme in Japan, or maybe it might be an old one, and I just came across it. But there's a king slime that somebody changed his face, and they call him King Kawaii Sos, I think is what it was. But he's just like a king slime with a stupid face, right? Like a really stupid face. And I'd be seeing them where people just modified them. Well, some company, I don't think it's official merch, but some company made plushes out of that dude. And not to give it away, but I might have got an extra one. But I did get one for me. And I'd say another one of those like jealous impulse buys that I had to get that Coffee Tan had also gotten was I didn't even hear of it until I saw she'd posted a little GIF of it, was the Healer wall clock and like the little legs back and forth. As soon as I was like, I got to find that whip. But I mean, that's just looking at it. I was like, this is so stupid, but I have to have it. Like,
two of the most bizarre things I think I've seen are like, one is there's a slime kind of toilet seat, or it's like a slime butt cushion.
Oh, the cushion, the Slime Night cushion.
No, it's like a regular blue slime cushion, which is crazy now because that means there's two different things that we're talking about.
Like sit-on cushion or the sleeping cushion?
Sit-on cushion with the hole in the middle of it. Like a toilet seat, but the
butt cushion.
Yeah, it's a butt
cushion.
Yeah, protruding through the hole is like the head of a slime, so it's not even a full hole.
I've been watching that one actually. I've been considering getting that on an auction. I got there's another. It's a set of two actually. I can't remember where it comes from, but yeah, there's that, and then there's just a standard like slime plush made out of the same material. It's like this mesh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got the mesh slime. I had to. That looked amazing, but I had in searching for it saw that butt Cheerio thing.
Yeah.
I want it. I don't know if I can like justify buying that because I don't know what I would do with it.
Yeah. The other thing that I thought was pretty bizarre was the belly band. It's like a belly warmer for pregnant women, and it's like a slime belly band.
Today or yesterday, when I was looking up for the Dragon Quest of the Stars plushes, there's a bunch of merch for those. There's you can get the badges, like you killed 100 monsters badge thing or whatever, or you beat the Dragon Lord badge, those ones. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The stars, you can assign those badges that you
can assign up to 3 badges.
They got a whole damn set of those. Like you can get the literal like coaster badges. And what was the other thing? They got pajamas. They got the Squirrel Dude pajamas. They got slime pajamas for Dragon Quest of the Stars. They got there was something else that was just ridiculous. I can't remember what it was. There's Sword of Rubus and Rubus's shield pillows. Of all things.
Wow.
I was going to get them, but I'm not. They're $50. I'm like, I'm not spending $50 on 2 pillows. But those are going to end up being one of those things that are like impossibly rare. They look like crap. They're really bad. They're not even like they're not even really shaped like the items. They're just like generic, kind of like a diamond-y shaped pillow that they printed the Rubus's shield on top of. But it's official merch. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of dumb stuff. And there's a lot of dumb stuff that I probably what is it? We were talking about the teapot, the slime teapot, right? Like, and then there's these
the eye drops. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ones that come with like a little slime plastic case. But it's legit eye drops. This like Z brand of eye drops that you can get in Japan. And I bought a whole bunch of them thinking like, oh man, I can sell these back in the US, and nobody wants to buy slime on drops.
They got salt and pepper shakers.
The salt and pepper shakers. I actually do have those.
They got the metal ones too. I was gonna get them, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to spend. It's like $40, and I'm like, I'm never gonna use these. But in like 10 years, those are gonna be like $600.
Oh yeah, they probably are now. So should we jump to our price gougers discussion?
Oh yes, some of this shit is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean we talked about we do have a den topic that I made a while back just to make fun of people who price gouge outrageously. Probably one of the first ones I remember seeing is the goodie bag or the gem sack plush on Amazon going for over $2,000.
Is that the new one?
No, it was an older one, but it was there's one that you could get for like $30, but for some reason this guy was selling one for like $1,000, and then within the span of 30 days he jumped it up to like over $2,000.
Well, there is
because it was selling at $1,000.
Yeah,
there's one of those that is rare, and I think it's how is it, the goodie bag or what's the other one called? Goodie bag's the yellow one, right?
Yep.
There's the silver one, or at least it's like got a silvery sheen to it, or it's like a blue silvery sheen to it. I think there's one of them that actually is really expensive even in Japan.
Yeah.
For some reason. I don't know.
I saw the same thing at Artnia for like $30. So if anyone wants to talk about that kind of
So Liam, I'm looking. You posted this it's like 3 years and about 2 weeks ago, and the guy was listing it for like $1,000 or whatever.
Yep.
Right now on Amazon, that exact listing is out of stock, but it shows like, hey, consider this item. It's the exact same thing, and it's like $40.
Wait a minute. It's out of stock because somebody paid that much?
Either that or he pulled it down. But no, right at the top.
I hope it said he pulled it down. That's so ridiculous.
Clicking the link, it says product unavailable. But right underneath it says, hey, there's a newer model of this item. And it's $46.
That's awesome.
Which still seems...
Yeah, I seen... Back when I was selling off my stuff, actually just, I think today I was looking over some of my old pictures for some reason. I can't remember why. Somebody had quoted me in a forum or something, and I clicked on the link, and it was that thread where I was selling stuff. And there's the Dragon Lord human form plush. The original one. When I was selling them on the den, I had actually said, I tell you what the price is on eBay, because I couldn't find a price for it anywhere else. Like, you still don't see them show up very often, at least that older figure. And they got a new one that's like a cell phone strap or a backpack or something you see on Amazon now, but like Japan Amazon. But the old original human form plush, he's a little rare. I mean, I've seen him off and on, but I didn't know what to price him at when I was selling him back then. And I seen him on eBay for $500. And I think I put in my post, I was like, well, eBay price is $500, but there's no way in hell I'm going to ask anybody to pay that. And I was like, I don't know, like $60, seems reasonable to me.
Oh God, I remember your post back then for that. I think I took a look at that $500 item and was like, nope, this topic is too rich for me.
Even though the dragon form of him was like, but at the time he fluctuates. It's weird. Those old plushes, sometimes, I guess maybe Japan has those little flare-ups like we do in America. I don't know if anybody remembers when Suikoden 3 on PlayStation 2 was like $200.
Oh, yeah.
Super rare.
I remember the second one. That was the second one.
Well, the second one's still expensive. The second one still costs like $100. No, the third one, there was a period in, I want to say it was 2000 was the year. Sometime it wasn't, I don't remember exactly when it came out. It was about a year after it came out. Somebody had dubbed that game as rare. I don't know, but I'm like, this game's not rare. And it was Suikoden 3. It was one with a duck guy in it, and it was Suikoden 3, but it was selling for $200. I was like, nah, it's okay. I'm not going to buy it. And you look at it now on eBay, it's like $12, right? Like there's like those flare-ups where people think things are super rare and then they remember that it's not rare, you know? But there was at one point when the Dragon Lord, the Dragon Form plush was like $500-$600 on Yahoo Japan, and I was like, Jesus! I was like, wow, this thing is rare. And then now I look and they show up for like $12, and I'm like, huh? Well, I wonder how did that happen? You know, like I remember this thing being super rare, but I don't know if it's because of the reprints that they had last year. Like in 2019, they re-released all of the first 3 game bosses and plushes, and then they threw out the I can't remember what his name is in the newer games, but Necrosaro from 4. They threw him out there as a plush too, and I that was around the same time I started seeing the older ones drop in price. So I don't know if they have like these periods where they go, oh, new ones out, new old ones.
Right.
Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, how do you can't really carbon date them, right? Like you have to unless they have years printed on the tag.
If you look at the Dragon Lord plush from 2019 and the one from, was it like 2000 or 99? There's a big difference in quality. One of them looks like he's got an issue, and then the other one looks like the game. You know, like, so there's a difference in quality. But Japan, at least from my experience, things have probably changed now that the world's starting to get smaller with the internet and access to things and middleman services and stuff being more approachable. But back when I was there, they didn't value used stuff. Used stuff was worthless, right? Like you'd pick up, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Sega Saturn arcade stick. It was like the full like arcade panel, 2-player panel, like the full thing that was released on the Saturn for you to play like Virtual Fighter with. And I got it for $5 complete in the box at a thrift shop because who cares about old Saturn junk, right? In Japan. And in America, that thing sold for like $500, right? But I think, and I can't speak so much now. I can't get the feel for it because I don't live there. But back then, you know, used stuff. I mean, I was getting Dragon Quest plushes, older ones and stuff cheap. You know, people wanted the new ones, the ones that just came out of the Crane machine, or you know, the one that just came out in the store, and they were overpaying for things like that. Sometimes I see stuff that's, I guess, is legitimately rare. That's expensive on Yahoo Japan auctions, but I don't think it's worse now. But I think it's worse now because people have access to it, right? Like the Japanese are now keen to the idea that Americans are buying their stuff, and the prices have kind of gone up because in 2007 or 2008, I bought 3 Neo Geo consoles for like $30 each in the box. One of them was brand new. I think I paid $40 for it, and I had a bunch of Neo Geo game cartridges that I got for, you know, $20-$30 a piece. Some of them were 10. I look now, the damn console just by itself is now selling for like $300. So I think the shrinking of the world has changed the market in Japan, unfortunately. So, but it also has made, I guess, Dragon Quest stuff is a little bit more accessible for people that normally wouldn't have been able to get it. Mm-hmm. You know? But things like the Play Arts figures, I don't know how they justify those prices. Like, how does Square Enix, like, just in general go, that's a $150 toy?
Right. Like, yeah, no, of course, that's not a toy at that point. That's a collector's item.
I wonder if they're starting to become aware, too, that there's an international market that they can abuse.
Right.
You know, I don't know. I don't know if I want to say that, but I don't know if anybody is familiar with the merger, right? But they've always still kind of remained separate, right? Like there's different attitudes with their Final Fantasy merch as with there is the Dragon Quest merch. Like Square back in the day always treated their stuff sort of like how Sony, right? Sony, when they release systems, it's high class. You're going to be willing to pay $600 for our high class, PlayStation 3, right? The Square side of things is always kind of done that even before like the merger, right? When they were selling their games, they were always selling them at the full price, even when other people were selling things at the lower end spectrum of the scale, right? Like even when DS stuff, when you saw like a Final Fantasy game on DS, it was the $40 or $50 one, while everything else was $30, right? Like the common DS price was $30. They were selling their shit for $40. But I'm wondering if that's starting to infect their merch now, that they know that they can get away with it. Like it's hitting the Dragon Quest stuff. They're like, hey, these figures are $150.
Yeah.
Because they sold the Dragon Quest 8 figures. So you remember those in the early 2000s. You could get Jessica, the hero, Yangus, and oh Lord, I forgot his name, the red dude.
Angela.
Yeah, you could get all those. They were like $25 a piece, brand new.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you can't get them anymore.
I remember I bought the whole set for $100, and I was a little upset. I was like $100 for 4 figures, and then I've since sold them as a part of that whole sell-off. And I went to go try and buy them again. I'm like, oh well, I'll never get these again. But point being is they were $25, right? Like they were about the same amount of plastic and like flexibility as these new Play Arts figures are, or Bring Arts, or whatever they're called now.
Yeah, they're ridiculous. I will not have any of those. Then again,
Oh, go ahead, buddy.
I was gonna say, what's funny, you guys are talking about all this merch and everything, and I have like nothing. I've got little slime magnets that are on the. We've used them in board games. The kids and I will use them in board games, and I remember I got like a dozen of them for maybe $10, like 10 years ago, and I'm talking about a centimeter to an inch big. They're not big at all.
Oh, are they the clear ones?
Yep, they're clear.
Yeah, those were super common back when they came out. Are those expensive now?
I don't think so. To be honest, I got another. I think I bought some more because my kids like cracked a couple of them recently. And I say recently, probably within the past 2 years. But I want to say I ordered like another 4 or 5 of them again for like $10.
The keychains, the Crystal Monster keychains.
Yep, I've got the crystal keychains. Gosh, I remember going back like 10 years. They used to be the fan poles in my house.
Everything, all those things were like, they were a dime a dozen. I was buying those things up like nothing.
Mm-hmm. And that's all. Other than the games, that's all I got.
Yeah, they're harder to get. They're much harder to get now. Like, I mean, they're not like super expensive, but they're not. Like, you're not going to get the whole set like you might have 10 years ago. They're not as bad though, but like some of this stuff, some stuff's just, I don't know, it's ridiculously overpriced. The eBay stuff is getting bad too, though. I'll go in there and I'll look at things that I try to shop around, even though I'm buying stuff off of Yahoo Japan or Amazon Japan or whatever. I'll still try and shop around, but man, like I get it on some things, right? Like, I recently got Heroes 1 and 2 on the Switch. I got that because the price is going up. I actually had been sitting on that for a while waiting for it to go down because I was like, I don't want to spend like $40-$50 on this thing. I already got the games on PS3 and PS4. I do want to get it as a part of my being a completionist, but like I started seeing the price go up and I was like, oh no, I better buy this now. Right? So I bought it now. But I seen them on eBay, man, going up. They're like $100 on eBay, right? But when I was originally watching it, it was like $60 to get it directly in Japan, right? Like auctions were $50-$60. Then you'd go on eBay and they'd be about 70 or 80, and I get it, right? Some of that is just, it's expensive to ship from Japan, right? Like normal ship from Japan, and it always has been. When I lived there, I used the military post office to send things like priority mail home or to people that I was sending things to, because the off-base Japan post office to get to America is just expensive. So I understand tacking on the extra 10, 15, maybe $20 to everything. But there's people out there selling things for like $300, like that Heroes. I see it now routinely for like $100, $150, $200, and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like if people just knew, even if you used some of those middlemen that are a little overpricey, with some of their fees for everything, like you'd still be saving money just using the middleman to buy to buy it. If only you knew how to type in Japanese, to search for the stupid thing, you wouldn't be getting abused on those prices.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
yeah,
for a while, my wife and I thought about like what we do trips to Japan all the time to visit family over there, and we thought about like what could we buy in Japan and sell here that has a market. But everything that we could find that has a market here is like so easily accessible now that it costs the same thing as you would buy in Japan. So there would really be very, very little advantage for us to like, even the Dragon Quest stuff. A lot of that is so niche. Like I said, I bought like probably about like 15 to 20 of those eye drops. I sold one of them.
yeah, your best bet if you're trying to make money anymore these days, because I mean, like Dragon Quest stuff, it is very niche, and like I don't know, I feel like you could sell it, but like you probably wouldn't be making enough of a profit to justify it unless you're doing it kind of, I guess, in bulk, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if you want to make money, games, even though some of the prices have gone up, there's still a lot of stuff that you can get in Japan. I mean, like the Sega Saturn Twin Sticks for Virtual On, those are, you can go to even Super Potato, who tends to be somewhat overpriced. You can get those at Super Potato brand new in the box for like $5, and then they sell for $40-50 in the States. You just got to kind of know those things, if you know enough about games. Is like probably the biggest and best market if you're looking to make a profit and pick stuff up in Japan and turn it. That's probably your best bet, because there's a lot of stuff that you can get there. What is it, like Radiant Silvergun? I'm sure you heard of that. Radiant Silvergun on the Saturn. It's in Japan. It's like, well, at the time when I got them, they were like $20 to $40, and you were selling for $200 in the States. I'm sure now it's probably like $100, but I can only imagine what the price is if you go look on eBay now, for one.
So one more overvalued thing that I did want to mention, and this is from that overvalued DQ merch thread, is the $9,723.67 slime coin purse.
Okay.
So it is more money than you could actually fit in a coin purse. And if you actually spent that much, you probably don't even have enough money left over to actually put in your coin purse. But you apparently can buy a slime coin purse by spending that much money.
Is this like an old one, or is this a newer thing?
I have no idea. Yeah, I mean,
some of that stuff, even back in the day, even in the early 2000s, I remember going on the Square Enix shop, even like the American one and the Japanese one. Some of those little like necklaces and rings and stuff were ridiculous. I think Zach had posted a thing about a ring. There's like a Erdrick or Lodo's seal ring or whatever that he posted, and I went and looked at the price. I'm like, nah, it was like $500. No thanks. The thing's made out of like pewter, right?
Right.
Like, this isn't like high-end jewelry, but
a couple more years you can 3D print the same thing.
Yeah, they treat it like that though. Some of that merch, so the coin purse, if it was a newer item, I wouldn't be shocked, because there must be like rich people in Japan that like love Dragon Quest as well and have the money for it. Like, you ever seen those, like, it was like the Game Boy, and there was a couple of consoles that they made out of like solid gold with diamond encrusted buttons and stuff. I'm like, somebody must be buying that. I don't got $41 million for a Game Boy Color.
I think if I had that much money, I'd bankroll DQ10 in the West.
Yeah, right. So there must be selling them. They must be. But I see some of that stuff, and it's like, yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
if that was an older purse, though, it's still stupid.
Is it really worth that much to the collector? Like, so an exorbitant amount of money would.
You mean like $2,000 for some Hot Wheels?
Yeah, or just some people just dicks about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to judge that, because especially the market. If you talked to me 10, 20 years ago, I'd probably be able to tell you, oh yeah, it's just some guy being a jerk, right? Like, now it's hard to tell. Right, I can't see justifying $2,000 for like 5 Hot Wheels. Like, if I saw that in 2003 in Japan, I'd be like, this guy's insane.
Yeah.
I would expect it would maybe be $100, $200 at the most, for something that was, like event giveaway or something like that, or a prize. You see it $2,000 these days. That's not a shock, right? People abuse everything. I mean, I was just recently, I've been buying back a lot of like my old collection that I used to have, and NES games are actually relatively cheap, complete. I mean, I've been buying, they're like $20 a pop for some of these. Most of them actually, like other than, like Final Fantasy is like $100, which I guess I can understand if you get it good condition with the maps and all the things that people used to throw away. I can understand the price being a bit higher. But then I've been moving chronologically, and now I've hit Super Nintendo, and my God, I don't know what happened. It is a night and day problem here. I was looking at trying to get Final Fantasy 3, and I expected it to be a little pricey, right? It's like $200, and I'm like, I can't. Chrono Trigger is like $500, and I'm like, I can get it for $10 on the PlayStation. I mean, I'll deal with the load times and get the PlayStation version, right? Like people are, for some reason, it's just expected. It's just expected that your prices are going to be ridiculous for like desired items, right? Like it doesn't mean Final Fantasy 3 is not rare. There's nothing rare about it. You go on eBay any given day, there's like 40 copies, right? Like it's not rare. I know what rare is. I understand Panzer Dragoon Saga, if you've heard of that on the Saturn. That's legitimately rare. They only printed like 20,000 copies. The source code got burned in a fire. And then, you account for the last 30 years, how many of those have been lost, damaged, whatever. Yeah, it's a legitimately rare game. Maybe it doesn't justify the price of a car to buy it, but it is a legitimately rare game. And I can at least understand why it sells for $1,000 mint complete in the box, right? Like, but some of these other things, it's just abuse, right? It's just straight up abuse. Yeah. I get that it's popular, but does that mean it needs to be $400? It's like Chrono Trigger's not rare. But yeah, I see that same stuff happening with Dragon Quest stuff. It's ridiculous. I think it's just I guess, there's demand. I understand demand, but like I feel like the people that sell, specifically Dragon Quest, you can abuse anything that's popular, but I feel like the people that sell Dragon Quest items, knowing what it is, right? Yeah. Like if it's some grandma that doesn't know what it is and she just writes down whatever it says on the box, right? It says Dragon Warrior 4. I don't know the game. It comes with the case, and there's a little slippy cover and a poster or whatever, like I get it. She doesn't know. And she just prices it off of what she sees, for other ones. But those people that willingly and knowingly are overpricing stuff, I think it's just, there's no conscience, Yeah. It's the same difference between me giving away a soundtrack, right? I pay $4 for it. I could turn around and make 10 times what I spent on it, or I could not, right? Like, I mean, even if I was going to sell them, I probably wouldn't sell them for more than what it cost me plus whatever it would cost to ship, because I'm that kind of person. And I like some of the things I look back on, if I look at some of the things that I might have sold on the forums back when I was selling off all my stuff, I'm sure some of those things have devalued. Some of those things have probably, like that Mirror of Ra has definitely become extremely hard to find. But some of those things have probably devalued. And I like having a conscience, I'm like, man, I feel kind of bad. Maybe I sold it for $40 to somebody at the time, and maybe it's $20 now, and I feel like, man, it sucks that I've now made somebody that just wanted, a Slime Knight plush. I didn't know that they were going to make one every year for the next 10 years, and then it just wasn't going to be worth as much. But like, the box slime, that thing's super rare. Good on it. Whoever bought that from me for what I think $10 or $20, whatever I sold it for, good on them. Keep it. I'll be happy that they can keep it and it's appreciated.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, everything that you ended up selling, including to me, was going to other fans too. So there's something noble about that as well.
There's a reason why some of the things that I put for sale in the places that I put them for sale on was specifically because I would rather they go to somebody that I have at least a 90% guarantee it's not going to just immediately end up on eBay, right? Like for more or whatever. And I don't mind taking a hit on. I've always been that way though with even any game. Like I sell when I want to sell, right? I'm trying to get money for something for whatever reason. And I will typically underprice because I just want to sell the thing, right? I'm not going to haggle over $2. If I put it up for 50 and somebody says, "Hey, would you take 45?" I'll be like, "Sure, right? Sure, why not? It's $5. I've made the 45 out of it." But yeah, I especially comes to Dragon Quest stuff. I have a passion for this stuff. So I would rather it be in the hands of somebody that's at least going to appreciate it. Some things I know people are just going to straight flip. And I don't care. It doesn't bother me if it's something that's common, right? But like that mirror, no, there was no way I was going to sell that to somebody that I thought was just going to turn around and make a profit off of it.
Yeah.
As much as I will hound you until your dying day to give that thing back to me.
Well,
at
like
least
I said,
I know
yeah.
that it's at least somewhere where somebody can appreciate it, and I'd rather have that than have it,
Yeah.
So.
Like I said, if I'm in a position to sell it, I will. I'll give you first look.
We'll see. Just don't give me your address. You might have a shadowy figure show up at your window and somehow find a way in to take it.
Nice. All right. So, one question that we didn't get to that I wanted to ask though is do you have anything that's so rare that you won't even let your kids touch it?
Yes.
What is that?
You can. I got
In the room. Can you talk to us about this right now?
multiple shelves of things. Well, he's sitting right here on my lap right now. Let's see. What can you think of? Just a few items that you would like to point at that Daddy won't let you touch, or I will yell at you that, that if you touch them. Go on, go point at them. It's probably going to be something on that shelf over there. Yeah, Kenshin Dragon Quest. I wouldn't say that's particularly rare, but there's no way in hell he's playing with that thing.
I don't know.
Basically everything he's standing in front of right. Oh my God!
You're gonna have to describe
what am
it.
I yelling at you about right now? God. Thingamajigger fell. Oh my Lord, son, what have you done?
The thing I want to touch is.
Sorry, I had my Sega hooked up because we were playing some Genesis stuff.
Oh
And
yeah.
you remember the days when you had cables on the controllers? Well, he
I know
just
what I
tripped over
wanna
the cable and pulled the whole system down on the floor.
I know what I want to touch. No.
Which ones?
All three of them.
Oh, my wrestling figures?
Yes.
No. No. I know that they're toys to you and you want to open them, but I'm old and I'm a dork, and those are staying in their packages forever.
So how many choices do I have? Like 3 more, 2 more.
What do you think I would yell at you about if you even got close to it?
What slime dolls that you're
Oh,
hiding in the
yeah.
closet.
Yeah, the slime dolls that I'm hiding in the closet that haven't found a box to be put away in forever yet?
Yeah.
Yes, I would probably yell at you. What about those swords? The ones that are up on the shelf and the shield? The one that I bought you extra ones of that you could play with? I got him the...
I don't want to play with those. I already have them.
Yeah, I know.
So,
But you don't touch mine or you're dead. Mine are sealed.
So the other thing was I forgot what it was because you interrupted.
Sorry.
I think something upstairs. I think.
I don't think there's anything upstairs that you'd get yelled at. Basically, everything that's on the shelf over next to my TV, which would be all of the Super Nintendo games and NES games.
Your block thingies or whatever they are.
Oh, you mean my 4 stones?
Yeah.
And which is the 5th stone?
I don't know.
You're the 5th stone.
Oh.
I got the 5th element stones, like legitimate.
What you mean?
It's not just like PQ merch you won't let them touch. It's like other random franchise merch.
Oh, there's all sorts of stuff.
That's true. I do remember you sent a picture recently to the Questers Rest chat, and somebody thought it was a game store. They're like, "What store is this?"
Yes.
Um,
I think it was Zach. He was like, "Where is that?" I was like, "My house." My house. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna transition.
There's a lot of stuff that.
When are you gonna be done?
We're gonna transition to another kid-friendly game. We like to call Mary. All right, so Lucha, I don't know if you've seen this game before, Marry Thwack Puff Puff, but this is something we like to do with most of the folks who do this podcast. We give you 3 character names, and you let us know if you would marry them, if you would thwack them, or if you would receive a puff puff from. And in this,
that part's left up to the imagination.
yeah,
I've seen it. I know where this is going. So shoot me a softball here. Marriable?
You've got to look. Dude, there's no softballs in this game.
Yeah.
You need to go on over to the Skype, to our chat in Skype. I've already made a graphic. Liam sent me some pictures earlier in the week.
Yeah, so I'm gonna describe them. Just let me know when you have that open.
I think he has that open.
All right. So the first one is the tissue box, the can of tissue box.
Okay.
It's a can of box with tissues coming out of it, so that way you can clean up after. The second one
What is that slime? What is that?
It is part of a stackable slime, but it looks like sort of like
it's a fleshlight slime.
Yeah, it's like a fleshlight slime. So let's call it the green sex slime.
It's a slime.
And then the final one is the slime toilet seat thing, or the slime seat that we talked about earlier on. So, yeah, this is an interesting merch version of the Marry Thwack Puff Puff game.
Yeah. Okay, now if this was the seat thing that you were talking about with the little pokey slime head. That's a different one than the one that I was talking about. It's the same thing. It's just a different material. The one I'm talking about, it's like a mesh material, but it's the same thing. It's like the hemorrhoid Cheerio thing. Yeah. Okay. Oh man, this is tough. I don't know. I feel like the easiest solution here is, oh my god. All right. Hey, I like the can of box. We had this discussion. Me and the can of box go way back. I'm gonna marry the can of box.
There you
go. Only because I don't know that I want to get a puff puff from it. I think I'm gonna. Oh my god! Well, I'm gonna thwack the slime seat because I don't know if I want that going in my private areas. And then obviously we'll go with the obvious for the green slime there.
Yes, the green slime.
Yeah, we're gonna get the puff puff from that.
Not only is this the most inappropriate Marry Thwack Puff Puff ever, but we totally have an underage kid cheering for your choice too. So,
hey, well, when this goes on YouTube for all of time, and in about 10 years, I will make sure that he sees it so that he can judge his father.
Now, did you say marry the can of box?
Yeah, why not? Hey, I think the obvious
I'm going with the exact same choices as you, and pretty much almost the same reasons. I don't want that slime seat touching me. Thwack it. The green sex slime. I mean, just the name I gave it. You gotta puff that. And,
conveniently shaped for the thing.
It is. It is. It's kind of made for that. I mean.
I would say marry the green slime because you figured
you get a long-term relationship out of that.
Yeah, you get a long-term relationship with that.
I don't think you want to put anything in there more than once, though.
Are you gonna puff the can of box then?
I would puff the can.
It's gonna violate you.
I'd puff the can of box because then whatever's going on during that puff, you get the tissues to clean up after. And then the slime seat, I would thwack that just by default.
Oh my god!
I really want this green.
You want that green slime? Oh my god! I forgot he can read.
Talk about coming of age.
Oh, come on! That's a low blow.
Well, I have a couple of beers in. All right, so moving on.
You're not a six-pack in.
It's the stacking slime. You stack them to make the tower slime.
Cup one.
Yeah, I think he misspelled the word. I think he meant to say green stack slime. He does.
Oh, yeah.
Bad speller. Yeah, I know. Silly guy.
The only F's ever.
Daddy's gonna puff that slime.
Yeah, there's lots of misspelled memes.
Yeah. Jackie, go.
All right. Get out of here.
All right. So just moving on. So some shout outs. So we talked about some of our favorite merch fanatics. Mishi's giant collection of slime plushies, many of which are rare. So definitely check out some of her slime plushies. You can check them out by going to Twitter and typing in #BragYourDQSwag and looking at our previous contest that we had with the merch for promoting Dragon Quest merch in the West. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but we brought in Wesley Blue Slime to help promote it and even got the official Dragon Quest account's attention on this. The main idea was to show Square Enix how much DQ merch Western fans import in an attempt to get us more North American releases for merch that hopefully translates into marketing more of the games here. So we did this contest twice. The second time was when Square Enix kind of took notice of it, and that was the first year we got Dragon Quest merch. I think it was at New York Comic Con for the Builders event. We actually got slime plushies at it for sale at the event, which I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, they do hear us when they see that kind of swag stuff. So if you do have swag you want to brag, use #BragYourDQSwag and at Dragon Quest at Square Enix. Make sure they are seeing your merch as well. So a couple of shout outs to past DQ Brag Your DQ Swag contest winners, Soira Eros, sorry if I'm butchering your name, and Bororian, who actually joined us a while back for the Quest of the Stars episode. So Sora has he's got all the box art from the first 9 DQ games on a blanket. He was one of I think he was one of our first contest winners. I was just looking up some of his merch, and I noticed he's got at least 15 different collector's editions PS4s on display.
Didn't he have like every one at the time of that photo? I thought it was like, oh, this is every single variation of a PS4 that's ever come out.
It's entirely possible. I didn't know there were 15 collector's editions total, but he's got all the DQ ones.
So did I.
Including a bunch of non-DQ ones, just like chilling on a wall. A couple other mentions. Go check out the Brag Your DQ swag for Bororian's collection, as well as Geminates. These are some folks who do a lot of importing from Japan as well, so you see some rare swag on their feeds as well. And of course, check out Luchadork at Luchadork on Twitter. Do you have any other handles you want to promote?
Nah, I'm not real good at self-promotion, but I will give a couple of quick shout-outs to people on Twitter that I think people should check out, and not for any promotional reasons or anything like that, just because I thought they were cool. Sure. There is one user whose name is Shiren, it's a Japanese one, who makes some pretty cool art. Made a really adorable sleeping dragon lord that I want as a poster so bad. And I'm sure people have seen him, but if they haven't, check out Oka Tadao, who dresses up his wiener dogs like Dragon Quest heroes and characters from like the anime. I want both the dogs and the costumes. That's all I got for you. No, I'm just on Twitter. I don't really get around much. One of these days, maybe I'll do something more impressive than just giving away Dragon Quest toys.
Right. Well, definitely follow Luchadork on Twitter and check out his Luchadorkaways, which happen semi-occasionally. Like, you do one pretty much like once every week or two.
I'm trying to do it every month, like on the first of the month, and then I usually pick the winner mid-month. I'm really bad at setting like real deal schedules. Usually what I'll do is I try the first of the month to actually put it out, what the prize is going to be. Sometimes I'll give a little hint the week prior. I'll throw out just like a little shadow picture of something related to it to give people a heads up that something's coming. And then I throw it out around the first of the month. So it's a monthly thing. And then I try to remember halfway through the month to pick somebody. Occasionally I forget. I apologize that I forget to pick somebody for the free stuff, but somebody will be picked by the end of the month. Usually the middle of the month I'll pick somebody though. So I feel like if I let it run to the end of the month, people just forget anyways. Most people tend to hit it within the first week, and then it gets kind of tossed and I'll retweet it. But yeah, I like to pick by the middle of the month just to keep it going, and then it's somewhat like a 2-week cycle. Put it up, pick a winner in 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks later another one goes up.
Cool.
So I'm calling it monthly. We'll just say monthly.
Sounds good.
So yeah,
alrighty.
Try out beginning of the month, Luchadork away, get some free stuff. It's not always going to be Dragon Quest. I apologize. I like to branch out a little bit, and sometimes I buy extra things of stuff that isn't Dragon Quest. So you'll get what you get.
Hey, man, that's what we talk about in elementary school. You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. That is like... that's pre-K and kindergarten logic right there.
Well, Lucha, let me know if you're giving away any of those green slimes.
Keep. Oh God, that one
with the holes in it.
Asking for a friend.
Keep eye out. Yeah, there might be something coming down the pipe, and then it hit me that we were talking about the special.
There'll be something to do with a pipe in that one.
And on that.
So, Lucha, go ahead. What's up with both your usernames? I mean, the one on the Den and what you go by on Twitter. And how did you get into Dragon Quest initially?
Well, let me tell you, Paladdy, it was a cold night when the spirits of the past rose from the soil, and the moonlight bathed upon me with its mystical aura and spoke to me, proclaiming that you shall be the one who carries the name. And I swore upon the graves of our ancestors that I would take this gift and bestow it upon myself, to be the one to bear its seal. I mean that, or I just like Dragon Warrior so much that I snake the name Enix because they're the publishers of the series.
Oh, yeah.
And the Luchadork, that was just a thing. It was, I think I started that when I lived in Japan. I was at a dollar store, and they had a Luchador mask, and I was like, what the heck? And I threw that sucker on, and I kind of rolled with it from there.
So yeah, we'll have to talk about a little bit later about your time in Japan, because I know you snagged some pretty rare merch while you were living there.
That's an open wound.
Yeah. Well, what are some of your favorite or least favorite games in the DQ series?
Let me start with favorite. I'll rifle them off, and then I guess we can kind of figure out how I'm gonna blab from there. But for me, I'm a huge nostalgia freak, so it's gonna be very hard for me to put anything above 1, 2, and 3. It's hard for me to rank the ones that I think are the best because I don't really feel comfortable picking just one. But definitely 1, 2, 3. 5, which I really want to say 5 is the best. I feel like it's universally accepted as the best, but I can't say it's better than 1 for me. 7, I know is one of those controversial ones, but I loved 7. I loved it when it came out. 8 was scary at first when I saw like previews for it and stuff. I was like, oh no, they're making it in 3D. They're gonna ruin it. And then it came out, and it was actually amazing. And they didn't really change much, which has kind of been my thing about that. That's with Dragon Warrior in general. Sorry if I call it Warrior. It's just habitual because I grew up with it. But Dragon Quest in general. I've always liked that it stayed the same. So it's a difficult task for something outside of the norm to stay in my favorites, right? But that said, Rocket Slime was fantastic. The
definitely.
Heroes games, I like both of the Heroes games, which I at first had a big fear when they were like, oh, it's going to be one of those Musu or whatever it's called, series type games. And I was like, oh, no, they've done it with Dragon Quest now. But they're actually great. Joker, I haven't really played many of the portable games, but I did play Joker, and Joker was fantastic. Joker, I felt at the time, at least comparison-wise, was like 8.1. It felt like a spin-off of 8 almost. But all those, I would say they're all almost equivalent to me. There's some that I lean towards as being best. Now, you may have noticed I've omitted some that people very much like. Up until 9 came out, 4 and 6 were my worst. I have a fondness for the NES games, but I never really clicked with 4. 4 for me, it was a bit of a drastic change. I'm guessing if you're noticing a pattern here, was the idea that I'm starting over every couple of hours from level 1 just kind of ticked me off. And I know it had a purpose. By the end, there was a purpose, but to this day, I played through it once on the NES, and I've never played any other version of 4 again. I've never played 4 twice. It's not that I hate it. Maybe I need to give it another chance. I tried playing a little bit of it on PlayStation when it came out in Japan. And then I tried again playing it on the DS, and I never really got too far into it. I guess maybe I just have, I wouldn't say bad memories, but, I don't know. There's something about it, and I know everybody loves 4, and I catch a lot of hell for not liking 4 that much. But 4 is better than 6 still, in my opinion. And maybe I need to give 6 another chance now, but years ago, when it first came out, mind you, I had at the time played 5 completely in Japanese, not knowing a word of Japanese, because this was 98, 99, I think, when I got it, something like that. It wasn't too long after it came out, and I loved it. I didn't understand a word of it, but I loved it. I mean, I got the gist of the story, but 6, I don't know, just everything about 6. One of the first things, again, a minor change, but it was a change. And again, this is probably why I need to go back and replay it. But 6, it ticked me off that the monsters moved. The battles.
That was an enhancement.
No, look. Looking at it now, it's a great plus, right? It was an amazing plus. They're fully animated monsters. But to me, growing up, prior to this, I had 5 games where the monsters didn't move, And
totally.
And not only the story was a bit wonky, there was just, I don't know, it felt like there was just enough too many changes that it ticked me off. I never finished it. That's, to this day, of the mainline series, I don't count 10 as being a mainline series game, even though it's got a number, because it's such a, I mean, it's not a standard game,
Right. Yeah, it's an MMO. Have you played 10 at all?
I played about, I don't know, an hour or 2 of it back when it first came out, and it felt weird, and I never really just gave it a chance. Same thing with 6, right? It just felt weird, and I just never gave it a chance. 9 on the other hand was 9 on the other hand was a start of a change for me that I have kind of had trouble adjusting to with the entire series. Well, I guess not the entire series, but because they really haven't come out with anything other than 11 since then. But I don't like this new translation team. I grew up with Dragon Warrior being kind of a serious thing, and I understand that in Japan, I understand this now years later, but it's ingrained into me that Dragon Warrior was kind of a serious thing. And I know in Japan it was more of a, a lot of puns on food and stuff like that. But I hated the localization. I hated that they had the, I beat 9. Gameplay wise, it wasn't bad. I hated the dialogue. Everything else was fine. The dialogue was just awful. I hated
what was it, the hip hop priest?
All the dialogue. I hated the dialect. Where the Struth, the guy that was saying truth, he would say it's Struth.
Yeah.
And it was so hard to read through the as opposed to 8, right? 8. At least Yangus was vocalized, right? And I understand that the words were still on the screen, but nobody really had super bad accents except for Yangus. And he was at least speaking it, And I feel like maybe if 9 had voices, I may have given it more of a pass. But trying to read my way through these, they have, all those little, I don't know what you call them, the accent dots.
Yeah, the phonetically spelled out dialogue.
So bad.
Yeah, so they did that. This is probably why you wouldn't like the remake of 4.
Yeah.
I think they started doing that with the DS.
That's what I was getting at with where the continued series, all of the portables since then, I've seen them, and I'm like, no, I'm afraid. I love 5, but I don't want to play 5 in English.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm afraid they're going to ruin it. I see bits of it, and I'm like, oh, no, they've done it to this too,
Yeah.
And, I've never been a fan of any of the portables, period. Even back when the Monsters and 1 and 2 and 3 came out on the Game Boy Color. I played them, and they were too easy. And again, this is me coming off of a history, right, of expectations from the series, and then I play the portables and they're just cakewalks. And I mean, I get that they kind of have to be because they're portables, and especially back then nobody played a game for 20-30 hours on a handheld. I get, but there were so many limitations that it was like the NES game was superior, right? Like the dialogue was they had to shorten and abbreviate the names, and
right. Well, to a certain extent, it was superior, except for speed. In certain cases, like if you go back to Dragon Warrior 3 and compare it to Dragon Warrior 3 for Game Boy Color or the Super Famicom Dragon Quest 3.
Depends on...
It's a long walk from Malayahan Castle, that's for sure.
Well...
From the castle to the town in the NES version, you're just like sitting there waiting like 30 seconds for him to walk all the way down.
I haven't like adjusted so much with that. Like... I get, like, sometimes I'll play games nowadays because I think it's generally agreed that all the old people who play games these days are too easy, right? Like, but on the flip side of that, I kind of want games to be easier because I just don't have the time to invest in repeating things over and over and over like I did as a kid.
Well, but there's always Dragon Warrior 2. I
played Dragon Warriors, the original trilogy, so much that it's kind of like it's a built-in expectation that I want out of a Dragon Warrior game. Like I want them to be grindy. I want them to be, lengthy. I mean, repetitive may be a bad word, but I want that out of a Dragon Warrior game. I don't want to just go straight through it from place to place.
Yeah.
It's just kind of how I get that other people don't want that.
Well, we were actually joking about this on I think the last podcast actually with Ben XC on the Dragon Quest Builders podcast about doing like YouTube videos of just grinding.
Yeah.
Or if you cut the grinding, you'd have people complaining that there wasn't grinding in it.
I don't know. Which would bring me to 11 here. I'll get to 11 in a second because this is going to be a long conversation about 11, I'm sure. But just throw these out here just so you know. The Tornado games I never liked. I tried them. I even tried the PlayStation 1, and I just was like, this needs to end. These are garbage. And Dragon Quest of the Stars, I don't really like. I tried to give it a chance. I played pretty far into it. It's just extremely repetitive, like in a bad way. Like it's just doing the same thing over and over with...
well, yeah, they're trying to get your money.
Yeah, it feels like a lack of progress, and yeah, you can feel the getting my money thing. I really hate... This is a whole sidetrack thing here, but I hate when a free-to-play game thinks it demands a premium. Like Plants vs. Zombies 2 was real bad about it. And as soon as I open a game, unless the game is like really good, if I open a game's store and they have the balls to sell you something for $100, some consumable, like, you get a 10,000 diamonds for $100. It's like you have crossed a line there, right? Like you're paying more for a digital game consumable than you would pay for an entire console physical game,
Yeah.
And like when I saw that in the Quest of the Stars, that they're like the way they price their diamonds or gems or whatever they are, it's insane. I mean, I paid for their first one. Like when it first started up, they had that promo first week. You get like 3,000 gems for like $6. I was like, all right, I'll throw $6 at them. But how quickly that money goes. I mean, that was literally just one chest draw for 10 items, and I'm like, I'm never spending any more money on this.
Well, I feel like that game is like it's supported by a handful of whales, and then that
well,
because it's entirely playable without spending money, but yeah, it was, and now they're in reruns, and there was this whole whale revolt where a bunch of people just got up in arms. On the Facebook feed
with the damn casino, like there's no way to whale that.
Yeah, there
was a point when I was like, can I just pay money for coins? And they were like, no, you just can't. You can't pay money for coins.
I've never seen a gadabout in that game, and I play a lot of multiplayer in Quest of the Stars, and I've never once come across a gadabout. And
Yes.
I think Quest of the Stars, the Facebook page, made some comment recently, I guess a month ago, saying like, "Oh, there's the gadabout. There's 47 gadabouts in a game with like 10,000 players." It's like 47. What?
They're all from
Really?
like 10 years ago when this came out in Japan.
Yeah, right.
But like that had better be the best freaking like class.
It probably isn't. It's the gadabout. He's probably just fucks around while you're battling.
That's what I'm getting at, though. Like, who was gonna? I spent since the casino came out. What has it been? About a month. I've spent that entire month off and on playing, hoping. Oh, I finally gave up on it. But I spent almost an entire month playing that damn casino, thinking I just got to get that one jackpot, right?
Right.
One jackpot, and like I finally got a jackpot. And it was for 20,000 coins, and I'm now at like 21,000 coins. And I'm never gonna get 1 million.
Yeah, I played that one where you have to throw coins onto the machine that's moving back and forth, and then
that's the one I play. Yeah.
Yeah, and I played that, and I was like, I was done with it in like
it's the only one
2 minutes, and then I just wanted to quit.
The other one
so I haven't played the casino since.
Yeah, the other
the whole the gadabout it's reverse Dragon Quest 3 logic, because you can be a sage way before you can be a gadabout. Like, what's the point of the gadabout?
Well, in 3, if you played the goof off, who was completely useless for the first 10 levels or whatever.
Yep.
You've got the bonus of him getting it early, right? Like there was
you could without the Book of Sartori or whatever it's called in the remakes, you could transfer a goof off or a gadabout class to a sage automatically at level 20. So now
there was because I know in 3 I did that, right? Like years ago. Like I said, I played 1 through 3 quite a bit. But I gave it a shot once. I was like, yeah, why not, right? And it actually does have the benefit if you can deal with the guy literally just doing clown stuff the first 10 levels.
For 20 levels.
Yeah. Well, he gets better after 10 because I think he can get the poison needle, I think it is. I think he can get that, and it makes it much easier because then every once in a while he just straight kills something. But
yeah, no, I did the gadabout class in my last replay of the mobile version of 3, and he was actually pretty strong when he actually attacked, when he wasn't screwing around.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah, if I'm skipping back to 11 here, I didn't like 11. Sorry. I know everybody likes 11, and this is going back to the whole.
Wow.
I've heard either really good things or like either really loved it or didn't like it. I've heard both.
My problem with 11 is exactly what its purpose is, right? Like I remember at some point just before release getting a little scared because somebody, I think it was, oh man, I should know this. I'm drawing a blank, but the guy that makes the game, the main dude that makes Dragon Warrior games.
Hori?
Yeah.
Yuji Hori.
Yeah. So I remember him at some point saying somewhere that they designed this one to be more entry level for everyone, kind of like a universally appealing.
I can see that.
I kind of got a little scared. I was like, oh no, they're going to dumb this down for people, right, that aren't into it. But on the flip side of that, I was like, well, I'm not super mad about that idea because it needs more love. It's been going for so long in the States. Japan, you could release like a literal turd, named Dragon Quest, and it would sell like gangbusters. But here, if it's not doing something different, it's just going to kind of, keep repeating that history, right? A couple come out, and then we miss 2 or 3, and then a couple come out, and then we miss 2 or 3, right? So I get that 11 being appealing is a good thing, and I appreciate that. I'm hoping it doesn't last. I know that might be greedy. I'm not saying that it detracts from anything. I can always play. I have 8 or 12 games that I can always just play again if I want more Dragon Warrior. But I hope this isn't like a trend. I hope maybe they start leaning it back into meaning like, not the next game, not 12 is just going back playing like 1 or 2, right? But I hope that they can bring some of the difficulty back without making it a stupid option. And I say stupid option, I'll get to that, I guess. It's one of my many complaints, right? Is that so it's easy The game's really easy. It's one of those games where you just kind of go through the whole thing, paint by numbers, right? One of the things I hated about it was the hard stops. Like Dragon Warrior up to that point had always been, if you go the wrong way, you find out. You find out because something comes along at a bridge when you cross the bridge and destroys you, or, you know, but again, fundamental changes over time have kind of ruined things too, right? With getting to this point where, remember, running was like a necessity, right? It wasn't you were a coward. It wasn't, and dying, right? Dying happened and you weren't really punished for it, right? You lost some gold. So what? You know, keep going, right? There's no game over screens in Dragon Warrior. Running was never really necessarily a bad thing. And it was on occasion you couldn't run, but it wasn't useless, right? Like running would save your life in many of occasions. And then just kind of over time, running became like a joke, right? Like you can't ever get away when you run. You have the downside of not being able to run away. And then getting to this game, they've kind of tweaked it, right? Because the running is useless. And then you can't just accidentally go to a place where monsters are going to destroy you anyways. So you don't even need to run because you can't get anywhere to where you're out of your class. And their barriers that they put up are literal physical barriers, right? Like they just throw some guards over there that say, hey, you can't go that way yet, right? And like I was like, first time I experienced that, I was like, what? This isn't Dragon Warrior. They don't do this. I've seen this in other RPGs, but I've never seen it in Dragon Warrior, where they literally just put up an invisible wall and a guard saying, ha ha, you can't go here yet, you know? Like you explored, you found out the hard way, you know, sort of, that you weren't supposed to go there yet, but you could if you wanted to, right? Like you could feasibly do things out of order in a Dragon Warrior game. And you know, I get that that's kind of part of the making it more for the common crowd thing, but it was a little thing that ticked me off. And then that whole like Draconian quest thing, I don't know, I didn't like that. I mean, some of them I thought were funny, cute. Is there any? I mean, mind you, I have not fully beaten the game, like the true ending, whatever it is, when you post credits and all that. I've done most of it, but I haven't gotten all the way to the final thing. Is there any payoff for the Draconian quests for doing them? Is there like a thing you get for having them enabled?
I don't think you need to do that for the final ending. Right?
I mean, is there any benefit?
You get a message. You're like, congratulations, you beat the game using these Draconian quests. I've seen people post that, and that's it. I mean, it's there to customize gameplay for you. It is. It's bragging rights / difficulty slider. I will say the townsfolk. Was a townfolk tripe one where they lie to you
and stuff.
Yeah, that is quite hilarious.
I like the ones that are just there because, right? Like, but I think the one where they ramp the difficulty up was stupid. And it annoyed me. Like, because the first thing I did was, I can do that. I went back, started the game over, and enabled it right away, right? Because I thought it was too easy. And then they put that on, and I'm like, okay, well, this is too hard. And it's not too hard like Dragon Warrior hard. It's too hard for this game, right? Because, again, you know, Dragon Warrior has kind of progressed over time and changed a bit. And one of the things that's changed is the length of battles, right? Like, so 1, 2, and 3, and even 5, when you might get to a place where you're getting hit every 3 steps. You're in a battle, but you're not spending more than 15 seconds or so in a battle, right? They move expediently. You don't have the little like pan around to show the whole team before the battle starts, you know, which I'm guessing is just disguised loading or whatever. But, you know, it was quick and it was simple. You were in and out of the battle. And the problem with things like 11 is the difficulty not matching like the speed of the game when you do that, when you enable the hard mode, essentially, right? Like, all I'm doing now is just making things annoying. You know, it's making me have to just sit here through longer battles because it's now just taking more time to kill things. And that's really all it was doing, right? At least in my opinion. Some people, I guess, like it, but it wasn't just reverting to old Dragon Warrior for me. I know the feel. I know the difference. I know the grinding. That was another thing that just ticked me off, was just It was either too easy or just too hard, and not too hard in a I can't beat it, it's too hard way. It was just, like I said, it was just a too hard for enjoyment, right?
Mhm.
And then the one that just this was like the nail in the coffin for me. I did finish the game, and yeah, over time it bothered me less, but the voice acting was awful. It's just atrocious. I feel like it's a step back to like Sega CD PlayStation era. Like I thought it was really bad. Like some of them were okay, but
Yeah,
like
I thought the girl playing Veronica did a good job.
Veronica was fine. I mean, she was annoying, but she was supposed to be. I thought Rab was fine.
Yeah.
I
wasn't crazy about Eric's voice actor.
Eric,
But again,
and he's like the first one you meet. That's where
Yeah.
right away I was like, oh no, right? Like, and I'm like a couple hours or so into the game. I think at this point you're getting, is it Veronica's next? I can't remember, but
Yeah.
you got Eric, and then you got the next person. And like, at this point, I'm just kind of like, man, maybe I'm just remembering 8 wrong, right? Maybe 8 wasn't as great as it was. It was great at the PlayStation 2 era, for the time. So first thing I do is I boot up 8 and I play the first like hour or so, and I'm like, no, this is amazing. I'm like, this is flawless, right? Like, why didn't they get these actors back to just do different voices? It was vastly different. It was really different, and it was super bad. And I'm sorry, like, I don't know if I'm going to get on a hot topic here, but Sylvando was, I didn't care, right? I'm not one of those people. I'm sure there's people that are upset that you had I'm not sure if he's supposed to be gay or trans or whatever, but I'm sure there's people that are like, I don't want to change the character to me. I didn't care, right? That didn't bother me. It was the annoying like flamboyance, like he could be a little flamboyant and I'd be like, okay, that's fine, but he's just like so, oh my god, like overpoweringly bad. And I would think that people that relate to that nature of whatever I'm not sure again if they ever announced officially what he's supposed to be, but would be offended by that, right? Like, it's like if you had a white character that was all like, I like to eat mayonnaise, like I feel like it would be offensive to people, because to me it was like, this dude is just really overdone, right?
But that would be offensive to me because I don't like mayonnaise.
Well, hey, I'm as white bread as they come. I like the mayonnaises and cheeses, okay? But
Yeah.
you know what I'm getting at though, right? Is like, people got mad about the Transformers in that Transformers movie. Those two that were like, I think it was played by Key and Peele or something. The voices. There was those two.
I don't know. There's a lot to be mad about the Transformers movies.
I get that, but people were really mad about the way they were voiced. They were like, "Oh, that's I can't think of the word. Stereotypical, stereotyping, or whatever." And I felt like that's what Sylvando felt like. He was like this drastic stereotype, like something you would see maybe in the '90s. Of somebody stereotyping that kind of a character. I mean, I just think that the voice work on almost everybody in that game was just so bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I really only had the problem with Eric. I thought.
Oh, he was bad. Nasally, Eric. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, I just didn't think it matched the character or what I expected of the character. But yeah, for the most part, I thought it was all right. I was fine with Sylvando. I think that gay culture has never had a character like that in a Dragon Quest game.
I like Sylvando. Like I'm gonna trust me when, like the character's fine. His character arc is actually, once it gets going and you get to that port town with him and stuff with his dad, fantastic, right? I was like, this is like the best character arc of the game, right? Like, he has the best character arc probably of all the people. It's the most, I guess you would say, unique, right? Like the other ones, it's like, oh, it's 2 magician girls and blah blah blah. Like those are all kind of played. I like this character arc. I like the character, right? Like, and this is one of those things is I haven't gotten around to it, but I want to play the game fully in 2D without the cinematics, without the voice acting. The one on the Switch.
I think I've
been working on that. I think he might be. I know I didn't even finish the first part because I gave it to a friend thinking that he'd be finishing it quickly. I think we're on month number 8 of that now. But I have so many other games to play that I'm like, oh, I'll get back to that. But no, I made it 25 hours
On
and
2D?
I might have got on 2D.
Yeah,
Now,
I played a couple hours of it, and I was like, "Oh, this fixes the game wholly, like completely." Like getting rid of the cinematics with the voice acting all together. I mean, I was like, "Okay, great." You know, because really that was the biggest problem, right? Especially with like Sylvando, right? Like it was just his voice acting was just so obnoxious, and Eric's voice acting was just really weird, and that's all gone. Like,
We're having both of those voice actors on next week, so
you like him, right, Junior? You like Sylvando? He's like his favorite character. It's like his favorite character. He loves it. He's like darlings and. Hey,
oh yeah, calling everyone. I love the part where I always mention this, where he hands the villain the poop.
yeah. Oh no. I like. Look, plot wise, I don't have any problems with that game. I like everything about it except for the gameplay, which I know that's kind of a core. The gameplay being too easy and like, you know, having too many changes, just at least for my liking, and just the voice acting. I would settle for the cinemas. Like if there was a Japanese version, kind of like with 8, where there was just no voices, it was just text, I would play that. You know, because then I can at least imagine Sylvando talking in a voice that I'm imagining him talking in, right? Like, or Eric talking in a voice that I'm imagining him talk in. It would make things better, right? Or just playing the game on mute, I could probably play it through in 3D. I really don't have too many problems with 11. It's just there's a lot of little things that just kind of add up, you know? It's like it takes all the issues that I had from 6, 9, and like, I wouldn't say 4, because you don't really have to go through the characters over and over re-leveling thing, but you know, it has just like a lot of the issues from 6 and 9, and I can't think of the other one, but yeah, I don't know. I don't hate it. I don't hate it, but it's like 4, right? It's one of those hot topics. I sit here and I'll smack talk 11, and people are going to sit there and like, this son of
We're gonna have to put a disclaimer on this episode.
Yeah, there's already people who rage quit this episode by like 20 minutes.
I caught hell talking about Sylvando in the chat once, you know, and then I'm sitting there in the same breath defending Maribel from 7.
Oh shit! This is over. This is over. This podcast is fucking over.
I'm like,
I actually did. I warned Platty ahead of time. I was like, "Don't mention Maribel if you can avoid it," because we got into it. You and I got into a Maribel tiff on the Quester's Rest chat. I just remember. No, it wasn't. It was like friendly, obviously.
Chat tiff, yeah.
Yeah, I was like ripping on Maribel or something, and you just all caps. Maribel is a saint.
Hey, look. This is how much I love Maribel. I've got 3 figures of her. I've got a pewter statue of her. I'm not even joking. This is like official merch. Like it's this old. I wish I had the rest of the set, but first one I got was Maribel. I was like, I got to have Maribel. I love that girl. I don't know why. See, people like she's so mean and she's rude. I'm like, no, she's misunderstood. She's sassy.
Well, what do you think of Deborah or
I've never.
Stella?
You got to remember, I've never played.
He only played the Super Nintendo game in Japanese.
All right. Okay.
So I don't know who that is. I know who it is, but I don't know who that is and why people hate her. But like, I know what she looks like, and I can kind of take a guess.
She's your future bride in Dragon Quest V when you finally play that the DS version or the mobile version.
Okay. Feel free to spoil it for me if you want. I don't know if you feel like spoiling it for anybody else, but what is?
I mean, it's just she's like that kind of tsundere character, or tsundere. I don't know how you pronounce that, but where she's kind of rough at first, but then you kind of you're supposed to grow to like them.
Is she like a money grubber or something? I kind of pegged her.
Oh, not at all, because she's rich.
Okay, I just assumed because like in Japanese culture, you would see the girls that are kind of like that, and they're like the equivalent of like an American gold digger, you know?
Uh-huh.
Like,
yeah, they kind of turned Maya into that, or Mara from Dragon Warrior 4, in the remakes and in Heroes, actually.
Really, I didn't catch that in Heroes.
It was right in the introduction for Maya's character. She talks about like finding a rich husband or like blowing money at the casino, because that was the thing you in chapter 4 of Dragon Warrior 4. Yeah, no, but you have money in each chapter that doesn't carry over.
I remember so little from 4. I just remember, I think you start out as Talon, and then or was it Ragnar's the first one?
Yeah, Ragnar's the first one. Yeah.
And then Talon, you'd run the shop for a bit. I don't remember for the most part. I remember the characters, like, so when I see them in the games, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the one chick and that's the one old dude, but I only played it once, and that was in 1991 or 92 or something. I played Dragon Warrior 4. I don't remember much else. I remember bits and pieces. One of the things I didn't like about Dragon Warrior 4 was the battle music.
Oh, really? I love the battle music. In the original NES version?
On the NES, it was so grating and bad. And like, I now, in the future me, understands what they were trying to accomplish, right? I'm sure Sugi was composing something in his mind, orchestra-wise, and then it hits the NES chip, and it's like...
Right. No, but I was a fan of the orchestral version as well, but even as a kid and being a piano player, I could hear what they were trying to go for with the NES version. But also, there's a crescendo in the battle music, which I always found fascinating. The NES version had a crescendo.
When I was playing Heroes, and my kid was starting to get old enough. Maybe I was playing Heroes 2 then. When he was starting to get old enough to see me play and kind of vocalize and stuff, we both liked that song, and I'm like, I don't remember which game this is from, right? Like I liked it. It was like one of my favorites. It was one of his favorites. Every time we'd get into a battle, and we'd hear that. And then I once I started getting into collecting the soundtracks, I would go through them. I rip them to FLAC, and then I listen through them to make sure that it didn't have any problems. I was like, oh crap, that's 4. I like it. But then I hear it on the NES, and it's like, it's god awful. Like, it's still to this day, it's like god awful on the NES.
Well, anyway.
Hey, on the question number 3.
Hey, it's all hot takes here for 4, 9, and 11.
So I almost hate to ask then, are there any games in the franchise that you haven't played that you want to, or that interest you but haven't?
In the general franchise, I mean, I do want to pick up 6 at some point. I would like to go back through it, specifically on the Super Famicom. I'll probably dote out and just go buy one of those Chinese bootleg cartridges where they dump the ROM to it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like playing through emulation. I'd rather just play on the hardware with the cartridge.
I'm not a big fan of 6, but I do like the Super Nintendo way better than the upgrade.
I might give that one
a fan of 6, and I like the Super Nintendo version.
As far as games I just haven't played, like, period, I don't really plan on playing most of the portable stuff. I would like to at some point. I don't remember if I've played Joker 2 or not. I feel like I did, because I have an open copy of it, which means I've probably played it. And I liked Joker 1 so much. I think I played all the way through 2. But 3, I would like to play. I kind of would like to play the Professionals. I'd like to play Swords. My copy of Swords is still sealed. I bought that with every intent to play it, and then I moved, and then I just kept moving, and I just never got around to it. Other things would come out. Same thing with the Kenshin. I have the Kenshin Dragon Quest, like the TV sword game. I got that before Swords. I was like, oh, this looks great. And I was living in Japan at the time. I bought it. I picked it up at a San Wado along with I bought a heated toilet seat and that.
Nice.
And then I never opened it. And I was like, I just never played it. And then Swords came out. I was like, I guess I never have to play Kenshin. I'll just play this one on the Wii. And then I never did that. So
did you open the toilet seat?
No, actually.
What?
My bed. I got this expensive heated toilet seat / bidet. It's got the, because I never hooked it up because I'm not a plumber, and it's got that, that little, you got to get a splitter.
Just like plop it back on there and like plug it in.
You got to get a water splitter thing, I could plug it in and just do the heated part, but like I wanted to spray my butthole too, right?
There's the tagline for this episode.
But I'd also like to play the Slime Mori Mori games. I never
Oh yeah, those are pretty fun. Did you like Rocket Slime? You said you liked it, right?
Yeah, I love Rocket Slime, and I
Yeah.
was so disappointed that another one never came out. And I'm sure, like most other people, were confused when Heroes came out that it was not part of the same line.
Right.
But I'd like to maybe pick up the Monsters games as well. I just never gave those a chance.
I actually didn't either until
when
recently.
they came out, it was Pokemon to me. I was like, oh, they're ripping off Pokemon now because Pokemon's popular, you know? So I never really gave those a chance. They got some amazing monsters though. Like some of my favorite like plush dolls and like little like drawings and stuff are from monsters that I've never actually encountered in a game because I never played them, you know? Especially was it Caravan Heart? That's got some fantastic monsters in it. Like,
yes, it does.
It's got like,
I love it.
Which most people never see because they can't get past the hunger mechanic in their first hour.
Yes.
Man.
Push
So
through
I'd love
that.
to play the Monsters games. I really would. As well as 11, playing all the way through 11 in 2D would be nice. But yeah, mostly I've just had a big problem with the portable stuff and some of the side games. I'll never play the Tornico games though. I gave those a shot. It's just something about that mechanic. It's like what is the other one? Hide Glide, like the old Hide Glide game where you just bump into things. It's just stupid to me.
Oh, like the Ease series.
Is that the same thing with that too?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think at least the first game that I played was just like you got a sword and you just run into monsters.
Oh, you do? I thought it was more like Zelda 2, like on the NES, where you side-scroll chop or something.
I think Liam, you were probably playing what 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 and 2. Yeah, it was called a push bump system or something like that. A bump press or whatever.
Are those all Falcom?
Yeah, they are.
Did Falcom make Hide Glide?
I don't know. Hide Glide? I've never even heard of that.
HYDL or HYDLIDE.
Oh, there
it's on the NES, and then they made a Super Hide Glide, I think it was, on the Saturn, and that was awful too.
They did on the Saturn. Yep.
I remember. I was excited. I used to subscribe because I was a Sega kid, right? I was subscribed to Visions, Sega Visions magazine, right? And I had never heard of Hide Glide, I don't think, prior to that. Or maybe I'd seen it on the NES, but just never played it. And they had an ad for the Super Hide Glide on Saturn. And they were talking about, oh, you'll never play the same game again. Randomly generates the whole world. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking, you know how like Grand Theft Auto 5 is today, where it's this big, wonderful open world and it's huge, or like, you know, even like Builders or whatever, right? Like these vast open worlds, right? That's what I envisioned that game being. I was like, oh man, this is going to be like reality. And then it came out and it was like one of the worst looking pieces of garbage you could ever imagine. Completely bombed.
No, it was made by some T&E Soft company that doesn't look in any way related.
But yeah, the main series I'll always play. I mean, unless it's something weird. Like I'm not into MMOs, which is why I've never played 10. I don't enjoy that gameplay style. I know it's different and it's Dragon Quest-ized, which usually is actually a good thing, right? Because builders. At first, I was like, ugh, I have no desire to play Minecraft. Like, I have this aversion to games that never end, right? Like an MMO.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I need a definitive beginning and ending, which is kind of what kept me away from the Elder Scrolls series, right? Like, because they're just too big. I just want something that, you know, I can see the end to. It's sort of like people telling me I should go watch, I don't know, some TV series that's on, and they're in like season 10, and it's ongoing. It's like, I'm not even going to try. But if you give me a series that has like, you know, 4, 5 seasons, it's feasible, and I know it's going to end. Like you tell me, oh, this is the last season. Like Game of Thrones, I didn't get into until I think season 5 or season 6, but I had heard that it would end at season 8, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll watch that because I know there's going to be an end to it, right? Same thing with games. I just have this aversion to playing something forever, you know, because it was designed that way. Like I'll go back and I played Dragon Warrior 7 for 158 hours, I think. And that was willfully because I loved it so much. I completed everything. I got every single monster encounter, all that stuff. I completed everything because I loved that game. But just a game like 10. I feel like, I think, doesn't 10 have a definitive storyline, but they just keep tacking more onto it or something with these
Yeah, I mean, the expansions are kind of like full games with expanded maps and everything, which...
Oh, okay. I don't know. Maybe I need to give that a shot someday.
Yeah, no, we had Nawaria on, and she talked about how basically every game is almost like a complete Dragon Quest game. She said, they're the length of a game, maybe not Dragon Quest 7 length, but she said, yeah, each one is a complete game, pretty much.
Make it offline. That's all I want. Just make it offline. That's all I want.
There was talk of that maybe 2 summers ago. They mentioned that.
Yeah, I remember when it first came out.
That's getting kind of old now.
Yeah.
They said the game when it first came out, like 90% of it was completely playable offline.
Well, that was the Wii had a separate version to it. It was like a side story. Gosh, I can't remember who I was talking to about this recently, but yeah, there was an offline version on the Wii that now doesn't exist anymore. And it may be because so many other stories have. It's not part of, like, if you were to go buy the all-in-one package.
Well, if I got the Wii version, I have the beta. Actually, I have an unopened beta copy.
Now that I would have no idea. all I know is it once upon a time existed, but I think you had it. Like,
was it you had to download it or something?
I don't even know, because Liam, you bought the all-in-one, but isn't it just the box? It's just a download code, right?
Well, the Wii
Yeah, version, for the Switch it is.
Yeah.
The Wii version came with a memory stick. At least the beta did. It came with like a 32 gig memory stick because you had to download.
Maybe that's what it's on.
And it had to be installed or something, because just like PC games. I'm wondering if I could put that sucker. No, I don't want to open it. Let's not even talk about that. I feel like that's going to be like the gem of my collection here in a decade.
Sure, it's floating around somewhere.
All right, so we have a couple other intro questions. If you have any favorite monsters or characters?
Ooh. That's changed over time, I think. But when I was a kid playing Dragon Warrior 1, I thought the Magiwyvern was like the most amazing thing. And I'm probably completely mispronouncing it, but I've been saying it like that for 30 years. So the Magiwyvern was like, is it wyvern? Is that how? I don't know how to pronounce that word, but
I always thought it was
wyvern,
but it's probably wyvern.
It's like Enix. I call it Enix, even though years later I finally heard him say it in a game. Like, I think one of the openings or something that was like Enix, and I was like, Enix.
That's why I call it Enix. I think people call it Square Enix because it's two E's when you put the two words together.
Is it Square Enix? Oh God,
I don't know.
I've always called it Enix myself. Yeah.
Yeah,
but I have most people
but
say
I do know what you're talking about, and I think it might have been Dragon Warrior 7 for PlayStation.
I think it was 7. Yeah,
when it boots up, it's like the logo comes up and it's like Enix.
Yeah, sort of like the EA thing or whatever. Or
right. It's in the game.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Magiwyverns have like tapered off for me. Like, I still vividly remember when I first like came across them in the game. I was like, holy crap, because I think they're only in one weird little spot, right? Like that little desert maze down in the south, and I just thought they were amazing. These little pink wyverns were like the coolest thing.
But the pink ones are the Star Wyverns.
Is it the Star Wyvern?
Yeah, or now the Cosmic Chimeras, as they're
maybe
called.
That's what I'm thinking of. Then it might be the Star Wyvern. Then I'm mixing up with the Magiwyvern. Because was it the Magidrake was
Magidrake was pink.
Yeah. But I've always loved the Goldman. Goldman is my dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throughout history, Goldman, it doesn't matter. It's such simple little changes you make to the Goldman, right? You make him hold that ice one. Oh my God, that was the coolest thing. I was like,
what?
Oh God.
Ice. Yeah, the ice variation of the you see a lot of those in some of the monster games.
I was gonna say, I think I can distinctly remember him in Joker 3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was he?
Ice, yeah.
I think he's in 11 too.
Yeah, 11 was the first time I saw it, and I was like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, in Sniffleheim, they have like a high res version of.
Oh yeah,
he's amazing. Dragon Lord has always been a favorite of mine in both forms. long-term favorite. Zoma, Malroth. I liked Atlas from 2, was like really cool to me. I didn't really care for the other little sub bosses in 2. Me and my brother always kind of like Canabox. I don't know if it's just the name or the figure. I just always thought Canabox was cool. Newer stuff was I like Dualmagus. I didn't like the final bad guy. I don't know if that's like a form of Dualmagus or if that was somebody else. It's been so long since I played 8, but
You're thinking of Rapthorn?
yeah, he sucks. I mean, he didn't ruin the game or anything, but he was not imposing. I mean, he was big, but I don't know, just his whole, like, the little one with the light on the bottom was stupid, and then the big one.
I mean, Dualmagus has a lot of character packed into him.
Who was
he's menacing throughout like most of the game anyway.
Was it pre or post Rapthorn Ruin? I thought Ruin was cool.
Yeah, Ruin's in the middle of that game.
Ruin was really cool. As much as I might smack talk a bit of 9, I loved Cruel Cumber. That was a great play. You know what pissed me off about 9? I had it all in my head, and I still to this day want it to be the next evolution of Cruel Cumber. When I hit that next color, I was like, oh, this better be a putrid pickle, and it wasn't, and I was so mad. I was like, I don't know why. Other monsters. I haven't played any of the monsters games really, other than Joker. But Slimeborg, I want a Slimeborg.
Oh yeah,
Slimeborg
is great because it's cyborg, but it's also clearly a Star Trek reference.
Oh yeah,
it's fantastic. And Tropical Slime, that's my dude. I got like
Tropagel, I think is what we first called him. Was it?
I know him as Tropical Slime, as I've seen it in Japanese. It might be different.
I wonder if it's like to make it fit.
It's like a coconut.
Yeah,
a little coconut slime. It's amazing. And the plush, he's so furry. He's fantastic. I love him. I bought an extra one for my kid. I was like, "Oh, Junior's getting a plush tropical slime." Yeah. I like almost all the monsters, really. Like, I don't know, they're all really cool. What I like when the games have monsters that you don't see elsewhere. Like there was, I don't know if he's in any other ones or not, but that one, like, I don't know, I want to say it's a dragon or something that's stuck in a well in 7.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, he starts out in 6.
Was he in 6? Oh, well, I wouldn't know that.
Yeah. When you try to go down one of the wells, and then like a monster pops out of it. I forget the name.
It's the well version of the Canabox, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's not common there, and then he becomes a common monster in 7.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I liked him in 7. I thought that was cool, and then he never showed up ever again. I like those ones. I think the only monsters I really long term have hated are like the ones that were just pure annoyances. Like in 3, the Garudas and the Elysium birds.
Oh, the ones that like warp your party
sent
back
you to another world.
Bar. Yeah. That's pretty annoying.
God, I hated that. And like even what is it? I don't know if the 3rd game they were as bad, or maybe they were, but I know at least the first 2, possibly 3 games, the healers were the worst. They were the biggest pains in the ass because all they would do was heal.
Right.
And like
you got to take them out first. The 2. I'm replaying 2 now.
When there's a couple of them and they're just like healing back and forth, and you're just like,
yeah. But I'm appreciating the strategy a lot more in that game because you don't get it as much. That kind of brutal difficulty spike, and your characters are really just pitched against these stronger monsters, and you have to really use strategy to
that's
to
a
get
big
past.
Difference between the newer games, right? You just chop everything up in order however you want, and back then, you used to really have to, especially when you come across new monsters, right? It was no, I got to feel this guy out, and then you get the feel, and you're like, okay, I got to take these guys out first. I still use that same tactic these days, even though it's useless, right? I try and peg the monster that's going to be the problem, and I'm like, hit that guy first, right?
Yeah.
Even when I went back, it's just ingrained in me. I go back and I was playing with Junior. We were playing 4 because I recently upgraded my copy of 4 because my copy I'd had for years, even though I had a nostalgic attachment to it, was beat the hell up. And I went up. I said, fine. I sold mine and I bought like a mint copy on eBay just so I could have something that was nice and fresh looking. And I popped it in because he saw me get it, and we were playing it, and I just right off the bat was like trying to tell him, I was like, don't get the slimes first. You got to get the other dudes first and then the slimes. Just that tactical thing was a big thing in the games, and it kind of has tapered off. I don't know that I'm mad at that. I liked it, but I just hated the ones that were there to just cause problems. Those were the only monsters that I really, like the ones that would stun you or sleep you over and over and over.
Yeah, well, 2 has that. I mean, 2's difficulty is pretty, and I'm talking about the original NES version, is pretty brutal.
On 2? Why? It's so
good. It's a challenge. It is a good game. I admit it's not one of my favorites, but it is enjoyable enough for me to replay it.
I get what
it's one of those games where like even you'll be in a fight with metal slimes and they'll cast around on you. Or so now you have even more of a difficult chance to attack them.
There's a difference, though.
You actually kill one, you get like pittance. It's like 1,000 or 2,000 experience points. Yeah. The metal babbles, or the liquid metal slimes, have 35 hit points, and you can only take 1 damage off them per hit.
Yeah, they run. I can understand the this is probably the wrong word, the disparagement. Can't think of it. I know there's a D word I'm thinking of, but between somebody who grew up with 2, versus somebody going back and playing it, I could see 2 pissing people off.
Mm-hmm.
Because
2 is something I could only get through as a kid because I loved the first one so much.
Oh, I still love 2. I still 2. And this going back to the earlier conversation, I feel like I keep wanting to put 2 as like my number 1 game, but then I think of all the other ones that are really good, and I'm like, I don't know if I can say 2 is the best. But I'm like Bizarro World to everybody else when it comes to Dragon Warrior games.
I liked what 3 did way better. I liked taking everything that 2 started and like just enhancing it.
They've always kind of done that, though, right? I mean, there's some step backs, but it's not like Windows where every other version is awful and then they keep something good from the last version into the next version. But Dragon Warrior's always kind of been like that, right? Like they've slowly evolved. It's not like Final Fantasy where there's like big drastic steps and then they walk it back. Final Fantasy is more like Windows, right? Like you get some weird, ridiculous gameplay and then they go, whoa, that sucked, but this was pretty good about it,
Yeah.
And then the next one was better.
Check out that Windows 7 remake.
Well, isn't that what XP was, or 7 was a remake of XP, right? Like they made Vista. Vista had this beautiful look to it, but everything else was broken, and they were like, let's just put XP with a nice face again, and it looks like, it works like XP, but it's got the beautiful face of Vista. That's Final Fantasy though, right? Isn't it? Because like Final Fantasy 1 was what it was and it was good, and then 2, like legitimate 2, not America 2.
Right.
2 had like this drastic, ridiculous change, and then some of that stuff echoed through the series, and it's continued kind of to this day. That was unique and interesting and good. But then, the next game picks it up and fixes that. And then you had 4, which, 4 had, right, they had like 2, 3 versions of 4 because the first version was way too damn hard, and had that annoying cave where they took away all your stuff. And then, they made the easy version, which I think is what we got. But, they fix it, right? And then 6, aka 3, was like vastly better than you could imagine. So they've always kind of done that with Final Fantasy. Dragon Warrior, on the other hand, has always been very much the same, and then they kind of put a little extra on, they pepper something on top of it, and then you're like, oh, okay, I can deal with that. Not a big change. I mean, like 3, right? You could say 3 was probably one of the big drastic changes in that you got to pick a party, right? It's such a small thing. You get to pick your party. Like every other RPG, that's basically what you do.
Yeah. That is true. Yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy 1, you picked a party.
Yeah. It's nothing new, but to Dragon Warrior, it was like this cool thing. Because it was a small step, but to Dragon Warrior, it was such a big step, right? Like, you were like, wow, you get to pick your whole party. But yeah, I mean, Dragon Warrior has evolved, and some of the changes I don't know. Like, I mean, was the party system in 6, or was that something that's kind of?
Yeah, no, that was
evolved?
the party
it's
system
been six.
I mean,
similar.
I'd say a party system. I'm
Three.
thinking, what's the? Oh Lord, the class
job
system. Is that unique to
Oh
7?
yeah, that always there. No,
Yep.
six basically tried it out for 7.
Okay, yeah, because it was. I mean, obviously it was a new thing to 7 for me, but because I didn't play through 6. But yeah, it was one of those things. It was just a small thing, and it's kind of gone through. Just like 8 had the crafting, right? That was new, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was strange and it was weird and it was kind of hard to get used to. But then like they've kind of refined it over time. So I'm hoping that 12 will pick up some things from 11, but fix the things that I had problems with. I'm not worried about it. I mean, I've always liked them, regardless. Even if the ones that I like least, there's never been like a game in the main series that I'm just like straight mad at. There's little things that I'm upset with, but I think 6 was the only one that I ever refused to play through.
I feel you on that. Although I played through it 3 times, it is still at the bottom of my bucket.
I need to play it. I really need to give it a chance. I don't know. I still not 100% sure what it was. I don't know if it was the monsters being animated or like the plot. Something really ticked me off, and I'm like, I can't do this.
I think a lot of people don't like the non-linear side of it. After a certain point, when you get the boat, they just kind of drop you off, and you have to kind of remember what.
Didn't that happen in 2 and 3?
Yeah, but in this game, it's a much more larger world with like a dream world on the side and like an underwater realm and everything. So there's all this different content and towns and stuff that like you could easily miss something or what you're supposed to do next.
Well, speaking of boats, I hated it in 11. I thought it was neutered bad. The whole boat thing, I was so neutered.
All right. So
you don't think
what part did you like about 11?
I like the gameplay, like the general gameplay, right? Like the walking around, and I like the story. I didn't mind the story. I just didn't like the voice acting to accompany. There's always something else, right? Like
yeah.
There's something. I don't know.
You can turn that off and like put on the Japanese version and put subtitles on.
Well, like what is it? Like there's no world map, right? In 11, right? So like why have the boat be like it is? It's like extremely limited. You don't really explore anything, right? All the islands you can go to are basically like bonus material. Like there's nothing really. I don't know. I feel like they almost would have been better just having cutscenes to go from place to place when you travel across the water or something. Like
Gotcha.
almost just cut the world map out altogether. Because I mean, 8 doesn't have that, right? 8 had the bird, but it was for fast travel.
You have the boat. There's a boat in 8. You got to go a lot of places.
I don't remember the boat. I remember you get the tiger to fast travel, and I remember you get the bird.
Oh no, there's even there's a place you have to go in 8 that you have to take the boat under a bridge. There's 2 different things with bridges in 8. One, you have to fight the sea creature by going through one of the canyons, and then to charge, because you have to get the sea creature to like charge up your sword or something like that.
Is this in the PlayStation 2 8?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Really? I don't remember the boat at all.
Yeah. As a matter of fact,
was it bad or something? And I just blocked it out of my mind because I love that game.
No, I mean you had a lot you had to do with the boat to get from one continent to the next, and there was another one where like the first bridge you walked over at the beginning of the game, you had to take your boat up there, and if you went under that bridge, there was like a tunnel that you had to go in nearby. There was a hidden place there.
I'll have to watch.
Hidden, but I think you had to go there. I remember. My son, that I want to say 8 was probably the first game he ever like sat and played for a while. Like he would grind for me on the 3DS for an hour in the car. Like when we were on vacation at a time, I'd hand him the 3DS, and he loved to get in the boat and just completely just go around the world driving the boat all around. And I had like pretty much everything set to like auto battle, and I'd already beat the game. And
I'll give the boat in 11 this much. Random battles, that's a plus. That's one thing I hate about 11 too, is seeing them. I hated that in 9. Like Lunar's Lunar, right? Lunar has the monsters on the battlefield, and you see them, and it's meant that way, and it plays that way, right? But like, I don't know. I can't conceive mentally for some reason. Some part of my brain can't conceive being able to see monsters on the battlefield. And that does, I understand in 8, there were some you could see, but they were special. And you had the option to avoid them because they were special and they were so difficult, right? I wish there was an option to have random battles in 11, even in 3D mode, as like one of the Draconian Quest things. Like, random battles is just like, it's a core mechanic of the series, and taking that away was really weird to me. And I'm sure other people hate it, and I'm sure other people thought the boat part was the worst part of 11. But again, this goes back to me being Bizarro World David from Dragon Quest.
Oh, man. All right, so where are we in our questions? I think we're about ready to start talking some more merch. One last one. What are some of your favorite mechanics in Dragon Quest games? Like, do you like the monster collecting? Do you like the games better that have job classes or the casinos? What really makes a good game?
All of the above.
Nice.
I like the mechanics. I mean, sometimes, the mechanics, going back to the Windows reference, I guess, they have growing pains, right? Because sometimes it doesn't fit right. I mean, I'm not super mad about like 11 seeing the monsters on the battlefield. I think it was handled well enough, at least in 11, as opposed to 9. But yeah, I the job class thing, I'm cool with. I was cool with it from the start. The monster thing, man, in 5, oh man, it was great. Right? I never really saw that as a Pokemon thing, right? Even though monsters, I kind of felt like it was, but I think it was more of an at the time thing for me. But yeah, I like all that stuff, man. I thought it was cool recruiting the monsters. I loved it in 8. It's fantastic when you get like the right. Couldn't you get combos? Like if you got all the golem,
Yep. You could make those monster parties that had then special attacks or whatever. Or
yeah, I love that.
Like if you got the 3 little slimes, they'd form Ultra Slime and
all that stuff's great. And some of those things, right? They're just staples now, right? Casinos at one point, it was new, but I don't think it was anything drastic the first time they did it. But
it was new in 4.
Yeah, you expect it now, right? Like, there better be a damn casino, and I better get a special sword out of it or something, right? Like,
yeah, there wasn't one in 9. That was ridiculous. Screw Dragon Quest.
There was no casino in 9? Man, my memory's failing me. 9 had.
Yeah, I mean, I remember it had plenty of other stuff, but
what was 9's new thing that it did, other than seeing the monsters on the battlefield? Did they make any changes to like any core stuff?
Well,
like the online thing was new, right? Like
multiplayer, and like downloadable content that was actually locked on the cart.
The heroes picked up the bar concept where you get to do like bonus dungeons. I mean, I like that. I could see that in another game, like in a core series game. Is it in a core series game yet? Where you
bonus dungeons? Yeah, I mean, 9 had pretty seemingly endless array of bonus dungeons that you could generate.
Well, yeah, I know 9 definitely had that, but I mean, like, did 11 have anything like that, where like you go to the bar and then you can like go on I don't know, it's like a side quest thing,
No, 7 did though. 7 for the 3DS did.
Well, 7. I don't know if 3DS.
Yeah, they had the tablets,
PlayStation, but they had that whole thing where you build the town.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that wasn't a huge mechanic, but it was in there in 7. Yeah. But in the 3DS version, they've got you collect tablets and you can make your own randomly generated places. They're much, much smaller than what's in 9. It was a small edition, but it's there.
Yeah, I like all the mechanics. There's nothing I'm really. I mean, it's hard for me to accept change, but
so we've noticed.
but I'm not averse to it, and sometimes I'm willing to look back, and admit that I was too harsh on something at the time. Especially once I've hit it again, and maybe they perfected it in a later game, and then I forget because I'm old, and then I'm like, I liked the job classes. Why didn't they do that before? And then somebody's like, they've been doing that since. I'm like, oh, my bad.
Yeah, I mean, I liked what they did with the job classes in 9 versus what they did in like 6 and 7, where you could make these like god level characters that have every single ability. And in 9, they restrict you to only the abilities and spells, or no, only the spells rather of that particular class. You could retain certain abilities, but it really kind of brought a uniqueness to each character class, so that you can, when you're doing multiplayer, you can stack based on different strengths and weaknesses of each class.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess, like a normal person. I guess I'm capable of understanding that it's hard to accept change sometimes, especially with something you really are passionate about and love, right? Like, I have expectations, and they're built off of a long history, right? And it might take looking back and going, man, why, I don't understand why that made me so mad, because it's normal now, right? Like, like anything, right? Like normal people about normal, like, social subjects and stuff. You look back on it. Remember when people used to get, they said bitch on TV, right? Like, it was like they believed in it. It was the worst thing ever, right? In the early mid 90s, and now it's like commonplace, right? Like, the worst thing you can say to get bleeped on TV is the F word, right? Like, that's basically it. The first time I was shocked, because I'm still like an old man, even with my kid. Like, I'm watching cable and I forget they don't bleep the S word, I'm watching stuff and they say it, I'm like, oh God. Well, like, I talk like that, and it's hard for me, like, even the last 7 years I've spent trying to teach myself to stop cussing, especially in his presence. It's just become so commonplace. Everybody does it now, right? Like, it's just super, super common thing. It's not looked at as being quite so taboo. And the same thing with, like, the Dragon Warrior stuff, right? Like, I look back on it now. It's, again, why I keep referring back to 6, right? And maybe 4. Maybe I probably need to go back and play 4 again as well. I just have bad memories of them. And it's probably not necessarily justified, now looking back. And I really probably should give those another chance. I think what keeps keeping me away from doing that is another game will come out, and then I'm like sidetracked. Like, a new one came out, and I spent hours doing that, and I'm like, I really should have played 6, but I'm busy playing 12.
That's it for this episode of Slime Time. We do want to thank Luchadork for joining us to talk about all the merchandise and all his journey through Dragon Quest through the years.
Thanks so much, Luchadork.
Yeah, thanks for listening to my old man rants that go on forever and get sidetracked. Appreciate it.
Oh, that's all right. You all have probably noticed this by now after 20 episodes, but the only time we ever mention Patreon is when we say we don't use Patreon. Liam and I were just longtime fans, and everybody we talk to, we just want to speak about the game series we know we love so much. If you have any money you would like to donate, consider sliding on over to the Dragon's Den at www.woodus.com/den. Click on support the site. Woodus has owned and maintained the Dragon's Den fan site now for over 20 years. I'm sure he'd appreciate any donation. Or you could use his Amazon affiliate links to buy pretty much anything that's come out in the past 5-10 years for Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest 7, 8, 3DS, Dragon Quest 11 on the PS4, or Dragon Quest 11S on the Switch. So anything you buy through his affiliate links, won't cost you anything, but a small fraction of that sale price will go to support the Den.
And if you're an advertiser and you're looking for a cool new podcast, or not 20 episodes in new, to spend lots of ad revenue on, reach out to us at slimetimepodcast@gmail.com. If you have any comments or questions for us, you can find us on Twitter at PlatiM3 or at Riamu Celestrian, or hit us up both simultaneously at DQ Slimetime.
Yes, consider joining in tons of Dragon Quest discussions at the Dragon's Den forums, one of the few remaining Dragon Quest forums, maybe the only one left. Find it from the Dragon's Den main page, or just go to www.woodus.com/forums. Always there posting about stuff that I hear about translations. I've been talking a lot about Die recently, since I've been reading 1,500 pages of that. And just anything you're up to gaming-wise, come on over. We would also like to thank everyone that made this possible, like Woodus for his support of the series and this podcast, and for keeping the Dragon's Den's lights on for decades now.
Thanks to Amanda Lepre and the Descendants of Erdrick for allowing us to use their music on our podcast. Descendants of Erdrick is a video game tribute band from Austin, Texas. If you like what you've heard, check them out and their most recent album, Advent, at www.descendantsoferdrick.com, or on Twitter at @doferdrick. Or once all the COVID craziness is over, go see their band leader Amanda Lepre live on tour as a guitarist for Andrew WK.
Also, thanks to Dwayne Bullock, our wonderful graphic artist / Dragon Quest fan, for making this awesome artwork cover for the podcast. Dwayne was on the original iteration of the Slime Time podcast, and he was on our Dragon Quest Ballet episode and a couple other ones. You can check out more of his work at Dwayne Art on Instagram or on his website at dwayneBullockart.bigcartel.com.
And if you're looking for more DQ podcasts, check out our earlier episodes on Dragon's Den, Anchor FM, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and more. Please also check out our fellow Dragon Quest podcasts available like Puff Puff Hour and Dragon Quest FM.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Luca.
Bye, Luca.
Bye.
DQ, Slime Time, sliming off.